Hey guys, yo, welcome back to the 2REAL4FEELS podcast where we do not give a fuck about your feelings. And we are very proudly proclaiming it. This is like episode 30, which is pretty crazy, to be honest with you, given I'm kind of a mess most of the time, just because I didn't think that we'd last this long, but hey, always have the support of the homies pulling up and obviously you guys in the chat. So I definitely do my best to be consistent for all you guys. So I appreciate everyone that has pulled up. And today we have an awesome guest being my boy Leon Idol. What's good with you, bro?
Oh, happy to be here. Didn't even plan this, but you rocking the PlayStation hat. I'm repping the PlayStation shirt, which is funny because like being a hardcore Nintendo fanboy, I feel like I'm like some sort of soldier in the Iraq War wearing a turban, like I'm straight up repping the other side. But it is what it is. I thought I had to wear some gaming gear for the Cassie show.
Hey man, that's what's up, bro. It's funny how things just do happen to work out that way, but really happy to have you here. And of course, we got the usual panelists, the homies that always back me up. Yo, TJ, Combo X, what's good with you, my man?
What's going on? What's going on? Another day. Some had some events that we need to discuss today, so it's gonna be interesting.
Really? Oh yeah, definitely. And last and probably least, no doubt, is the homie Ozzknot. How you doing
What
today, bro?
What up, scum fucks? What's going on?
Oh god.
What's up,
Yes. This is why you were least, sir. Go fuck yourself. Anyway.
That's right.
Real quick, I do want to give a shout out to the channel members because I did not make the banner for today. I was like, yo, to write down all these names, I'm sorry, but I'm getting carpal tunnel just thinking about it, so I'll just read out everyone's names. I appreciate all the channel members. We got the boy, our carry, AB Limix, Alex vs. Evil, the hairline god apparently, John Shepard,
Damn.
Orange Hat Reviews, Ermal T, Hargeet Chennai, my boy Words of Paradise, Adriano Italiano, Retromania, I'm Ambitious Swag Lord, Fake Parabear, Tattoo Sama, Nola Boy 504, KRG, Panther 111, Severin Evans, Astro Cyborg, Cannoli, Sasquatch, the man right there, Andy Hart, Overcooked Octopus Feet, RC Scott, Tokyo TZ TV, Disney Sheep Herder, Livewire 4K, Hustle and Motivate, Deathmaster 234, Osseous 07, Talos Re, Spectre, hashtag 799, Drewy M420, Drake Williams, Red Chaos 173, Pigeon Salad 1, Rasputin, Gray Early, All Day One Bay, Black Cobra, T Gap Steve, Lord Metroid, Fuck Norris, Glingzer, and my homie Rome. Guys, I'm really thinking I'm gonna have to start permanently wearing glasses instead of just thinking I could freeball it. It is not working out. So man, the struggle is real. But thank you guys so much for being channel members and for believing in an asshole like me. And if you wish to have instant access to the Discord, consider becoming a channel member. A basic membership gets you instant access. It's just a good time hanging out with y'all. So, and really it keeps the riffraff out, which I can't be fucking bothered with. But yeah, guys, we got the
I'm
whole.
riffraff and I am there. We're on the wrong side of them tracks.
Perhaps so. But we got the homies out here. Who that gaming? Triple Z. Okay, I'm Triple C, but this is Triple Z, who has an amazing animal family.
Machino's Triple D's. How you doing? All right. I'm good.
Hey, yo. I mean, well, the PlayStation Showcase gave you Triple D's, but they were man boobies. I'm sorry to have to say. So, yeah, we gonna get into that one. But Triple Z over here has 1 cat, 1 dog, and 6 fish tanks and plants. So that is an awesome family. Much love to you. We got the homie Drewy up in here. Appreciate you for pulling up, my boy. I'm Callie Rex, good to see you. That's the man right there. And we got Mr. Cannoli Sasquatch, good to see you. Hustle and Motivate, awesome to see you. Hurricane, that's what's up. Good to see you.
Right.
Is Hurricane? Oh, Hurricane's rocking a Bray Wyatt avatar. Shout out to you for that. Hell yeah. My boy Yokai Gypsy said, "Where the hell is Stellar Blade?" Yo, my sentiments exactly, fam. but we gonna jump into it. But real quick, guys, I do like to start off the podcast asking, what has everyone been playing? What's everyone been watching? What has piqued y'all's interest as of late? Leon, let us know what you've been up to, bro.
I'm watching Breaking Bad for the first fucking time. Like, I know that everyone's talked out the ass about how
Nice.
amazing this show is.
That's awesome.
Dude, it's been great. Like, the reason I ever watched it, I grew up in the meth capital of the world. Like my mom abandoned me when I was 10 years old on account of meth. So I was like, this is not the sort of show that I'm going to be able to watch, just being an emotional little bitch that I am. But my buddy got me into it, like, a week and a half ago, when we're already on season 4. I understand the hype. Like, I completely understand the hype.
Bitch.
It's been such a good fucking
That's
show. And then as of 2 nights ago, I got Game Pass. I broke down. I got Game Pass, and so I've just been sort of checking that out and messing with that.
That's what's up. Yo, TJ, what you been playing? What you been watching? What's piqued your interest, good sir?
Not watching anything, and I'm currently, as we speak, I'm finishing up Sea of Stars. So that's what I'm on. It's almost done. Just some side quests I'm getting out the way, and then I get to the final act of the game.
Yeah, you've been digging that game. All the people that have been playing it have thoroughly been saying that they have been thoroughly enjoying the game. And a lot of people are thinking it's a game of the year contender. And,
yeah, it's top 5.
Look, I had to put that one to the side. I'm like, I want to thoroughly enjoy this one, so I'm just gonna play Starfield for now because I can't help myself.
Ooh, boo yourself. Boo yourself.
Calling bullshit on that game of the year contender. Like, don't you know? I've watched them play. I've watched some people play it. It looks awesome. I really want to play it. But that being said, whether we want to acknowledge or not, Baldur's Gate is going to get Game of the Year. There's no the only competition.
There's always going to be contenders.
No. The only competition is because Game of the Year is rigged. We all know it's rigged. The only competitors, only 2 competitors are Baldur's Gate and Tears of the Kingdom. That's it. There's going to be some other like nominations, but that's the same as like a libertarian dude running for president. Like, yeah, it's on the ballot, but it's not fucking getting picked.
Pure depression. I mean, he's not wrong, but it is pure depression nonetheless. I mean, it's one of those things where when they always have like Game of the Year nominations, they always tend to at least pick one indie game for acknowledgement of indie developers. So I think that one is probably the most deserving, even though there have been a lot of good indie games this year. To me, indie has been holding up this year because AAA has been somewhat good and then a lot of shit too. And I think indie has held it down reasonably well, but I don't blame you for thinking Baldur's Gate 3 is Game of the Year. I think it's a great game.
I don't think so. I think it's gonna win. I don't think it's the game of the year, but I think it's gonna take the win.
Yeah, I know. I feel you with that. Damn, what was I thinking? But yeah, Sea of Stars is badass as hell, and I don't want to feel like I'm rushing through it or like I'm balancing 2 RPGs at the same time. Like I don't like to do that, so I just like to stick to one, get my rocks off, and then move on to the next one. So I want to save that because I know it's a damn good experience, and y'all, I know that everyone's been enjoying it, and that's what I love to see. I love to see people happy with their games. Unlike Lemonade, who has recently told us that he spent $120 on Mortal Kombat 1 and said it was dog shit. But he's also trying to convince himself to love it. I simply asked this man, like, what you feel about it, like your honest thoughts, and he didn't want to say it. And I'm just like, bro, just speak your mind, fam. And he's just like, yeah, it's not good. I died. But yo, Oz, what you been playing? What you been watching? What has piqued your interest as of late, sir?
I've been watching. Well, last Monday was a monumental Monday Night Raw for me because it was the last Monday Night run fully by McMahon.
Yeah.
And watching the stock exchange and all that shit happen. It's
crazy to think.
Yeah, I've been watching that. I tried Starfield, not my cup of tea. No, don't get me wrong. It's not a bad game. It's not.
We're gonna get into that. That's a whole topic, but I know that you gave it a try, and I appreciate you giving it a try, man. That's more than a lot of people that have been bitching about the game.
Yeah, it's a good game. Not my cup of tea. Like Sea of Stars. Okay, the characters are boring. I don't like them. What else am I fucking
just
doing?
a piece of shit.
I am.
He
I'm
said
sorry.
yeah,
I
like,
don't.
He doesn't
Listen,
play or finish
listen.
anything. So
Here,
it doesn't matter.
I'll make sure.
Nah, he
I'm not.
does. I
I
will give
don't.
him this.
I don't.
He does
I'll
finish some
try.
games. You gotta give him
I
some
do
props.
sometimes. Textile Chainsaw Massacre. Still, it's growing on me. I didn't like it at first, but it's growing on me.
You've uninstalled the game like 10 times
Twice.
now, trying
I
to
did.
convince yourself.
So I'm trying. I'm trying.
Twice, you fucking piece of shit. Once again, you keep proving me correct.
I'm trying. Right now I'm playing. I started playing Solar Ash. It's really fucking cool.
I don't even know what the fuck that is. Oh
Yeah,
no,
look
wait,
it
I
up.
actually do. I actually do.
It's pretty fucking cool. I'm really digging it. The color, like, it's all bright and like neon and shit.
Yeah, you definitely
It's a cool
into fruity
platformer.
shit. So
No, it's pretty cool though.
If it's a platformer game, it's got neon colors. I'm sold. Like
Yeah.
I love the neon aesthetic, and
Yeah.
platformers are like
Yeah,
top tier.
and the
So,
characters, it's really it's like
private chat. Like name this game again, so I can check it out later.
like you if you want to get like fucking stone off your fucking mind and play it, you have a really good experience. So stoner approved.
my.
And I don't smoke. And that's
In Minecraft, allegedly.
played Fortnite, still play wrestling and shit. That's about it.
Psycho's asking if Solar Ash is even out.
It is. It's on
Yeah,
Game Pass right
It's been
now.
out for a minute.
It came out
Okay.
today on Game Pass.
Okay, no wonder why you're playing it. Because
fucking-
you
if it's on
Game Pass.
I'm gonna try that
Right.
tonight after work. Then
All right, sounds like a plan. Let me know what you think. I gave Leon a whole list. I'm like, here's a damn good list of
Dude,
solid
it was
games
great.
on
Like,
Game
it
Pass.
was
There's
like
more.
2 a.m. It's like 2 a.m. I'm playing Doom Eternal, and then she's next thing I know, she sends me this fucking like 7 or 8 games to try on Game Pass. I'm like, okay, you're gonna need to like. I very much appreciate this, but my backlog just went from like 2 games to like 30.
Oh, you have no idea.
So,
Well, to me, Game Pass is a glorified demo trier. That's just what it is, to me at least. If I like a game, I'll end up buying it on the PS5 or the PS4 or on Steam. If I do happen to find something I'm into.
Oh, and I'm fucking excited for that stupid animal game that coming out. Looks fucking retardedly fun.
Party Animals?
That
Yo,
looks
that is
stupid.
going to be the big like streamer game. Like I really do think that's the case, and it
I'm
actually
playing the
looks
shit out
fun.
of that.
Like I can't play
And,
like a streamer popular game unless I actually do enjoy it. Like I've been playing
Mhm.
Fortnite for years before I even had a YouTube channel. It's not because I do YouTube or I stream on Kick. Like I actually do enjoy Fortnite.
And I'm excited for next week. I'm going to play the First Descent. It looks fucking dope.
Okay. Real
It's
quick.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, finish what you were saying.
It's a free to play looter shooter, and it looks really fucking badass. And they're calling it a Destiny 2 killer, so I'm interested.
Okay, everything that is a
Destiny
something
2
killer.
was a Destiny 2 killer.
Yeah,
Doesn't
You're
kill
not
anything.
lying. Yeah,
But it
looks-
anything that's
killed.
labeled
what I really like
something
about it-
killer
but I-
ends up flopping.
but what I really like about it is that the dudes look badass, and the chicks got fat asses. Okay, continue.
Well, speaking
Okay,
of
so-
fat asses, how about that
Fat asses.
PlayStation Direct? Or not Direct, but that PlayStation Showcase.
I don't know. I didn't watch that. I'm good.
Hold up. You mean hold up. Damn it. Here we go. You mean this?
Yeah, that.
mean that?
Be
Hey,
Sony. Open your fucking show with a dump truck ass ginger for a game that looks like shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
how is it that this dude has a fatter ass than the mass majority of Western female video game characters? This dude's titties are bigger than mine. This is fucking insane. I'm just saying. Like, yo, if I would rather die than, you know what? Hold up. I'm not done yet, but I would rather die than play as that, whatever the fuck that's supposed to be. But anyways, real quick, guys, I've been playing Fortnite. I've been playing Starfield almost obsessively, doing the most minuscule of things. I watched the Equalizer 3, which I actually enjoyed. I thought that was the best of the 3 thus far. So, TJ, I was wondering if you ended up watching it or not, but you didn't really say anything in the chat.
Are you talking about Equalizer? No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it was actually really good. There were some parts that were kind of gross, like this dude foaming out of his mouth. I thought that was kind of because he was ODing. But it didn't make for good visual, and it kind of made me want to vomit. But other than that, I actually really like the way that they filmed it. I think that given, obviously, I think Denzel's a great actor. I respect him as an actor, and while he is 65 now, he's a couple of years older than my parents. The way that
really?
they chose
Denzel is 65.
Yep, it's insane.
Jeez.
The way that they filmed this movie was smart. It was smart, and it really it used Denzel for his strengths and didn't really rely on him having to be super physical, but yet it was still entertaining. It was super gory. I was like, holy shit. And the cinematography is amazing. Like the fact that it's in Italy really just gives an interesting cinematography, cinematic view of for the film. I think that a lot of it is shot very beautifully. And I mean, I know that everyone's a John Wick fan, but I actually really enjoyed the first Equalizer. The second one was a disappointment, but I think this one's actually better than all, the previous two. So if you guys are into that, you love Denzel. I mean, who knows how many more he's got left in him. So it was cool to see, and I do recommend it. But all right, so real quick, shout out to my boy Astro Cyborg pulling up. Eastern Conference Gaming, good to see you, my man. My boy John the Don, the Sly Crow. Thank you guys so much for pulling up and hanging out with us tonight. And of course, the homie Alex vs. Evil. And hey, shout out to Tim's Talk. Good to see you, fam. Hope you're doing well. He's been playing Arkham Knight and Fortnite, man. That's cool to see.
Nice.
That's what's up. But real quick, guys, if you haven't, hit the like button. Really helps me out. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. And yeah, let's just jump right into it, man. We got the first topic of the night, so let's throw it out there. Switch 2 possibilities, man, because it has sources are confirming out there that the Switch 2 is floating around behind the scenes at Gamescom.
I think this Nintendo Direct pretty much confirmed it.
Yes, and it's interesting details because my expectations are super low, at least from the power aspect of the Switch successor, because Nintendo's never really been about power. It's more than anything else about the games, the fun factor, and all that. And so my expectations for the Switch were that it's definitely going to be less powerful than a Steam Deck. But it seems like they might be aiming a little bit high this time around, which is, if so, that's pretty insane. Behind the scenes, apparently, this is all alleged. At Gamescom, they were showing off a, Zelda Breath of the Wild running at a higher frame rate and resolution. And they were also showing the Matrix Awakens Unreal Engine 5 tech demo. So I'm not sure if you know what that is, Leon, but I've played it on the PS5. I believe TJ
cool.
and Oz, you guys have tried it out on the PS5
Yeah, I played
as well.
it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a really graphic heavy demo that really showcases what these consoles can do. And they're saying that they put a tech demo on the Switch successor that was on the PS5, and that was supposed to test the PS5's limitations. So obviously, I'm going to assume that this was maybe a lower scaled version of the tech demo, because I don't like to jump to conclusions on anything. But that's pretty impressive that they actually managed to get that tech demo running on the Switch 2. And they're also talking about having DLSS on the Switch 2, which, if so, I've been saying that that's what the Switch needed for a minute. DLSS is like a super sampling. I'm not a tech person, but it basically gives you more frame rates and makes the higher frame rate, I should say, and conserves the picture quality. So I love using DLSS on PC. It's particularly if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, and I love to take advantage of it because it's still it retains the quality of the resolution, even if it might be lower, all for the sake of boosting the frame rate. If they can add that to the Switch too, that would be an awesome scenario. Personally, in my personal opinion, I think that they need to do enough to make sure some of these high quality games do get on the Switch, because that'd be a great selling point for the Switch 2 in its own right. But Leon, I know that you're a big Nintendo guy.
I am. Yes, absolutely.
For you, you go by on the PC and on the Switch. And you still love the Switch for what it is. Like even
I adore the Switch. I play the Switch if not every day. I play it probably 3 to 5 times a week. Like you cannot keep me from Smash Bros. And then I also play a bunch of like Tetris 99. I play on the Switch. I love Tetris 99. It's a fun time waster. The Zelda games. I went back and replayed Sonic Frontiers recently. It's getting I think the new update is either dropping soon or it's right about to drop. So yeah, I think the Switch still holds up. Like it's very obviously it is, it objectively is lesser than anything that's out right now. But I think the fun factor that's what I care about is the fun factor. And I think the Switch still gives us that.
Yeah, I agree. And what are your general thoughts on, the potential of us having a pretty beefy Switch too, man? It's kind of exciting for me personally.
I think this Nintendo Direct pretty much confirmed Switch 2 because there were so many titles that looked gorgeous that just said 2024. They didn't have actual release dates. And I think the reason they didn't have actual release dates, because anything coming out this year did, and a lot of stuff coming out next year, like about half of them did. I think the ones that did not is because they're going to be launching as, whether they be launch titles for the successor or very soon after. I think we probably saw a lot of stuff that's going to be on the Switch successor during the Direct today. The fact they didn't actually show it, I think that's a good call because Tokyo Game Show is coming up pretty soon, and I don't know if that's where they're going to show it. But I wouldn't be surprised if Tokyo Game Shows where we actually get full on confirmation.
It's possible. Oz, what were you gonna say? Shoot.
I still think I'm gonna stick to my theory. I still think you're gonna see it this holiday season.
I don't think so, bro. They got a stacked lineup for the rest of the year. I don't think they're gonna force anything. Why should they?
Cannoli Sasquatch. Cannoli in the chat says he thinks March 2024. I think that's optimistic. I'm assuming summer 2024, but I mean, March is. It's possible, but I don't want to get my hopes up.
Yeah, I mean, there's rumors of it being like a late 2024 release, but we still have no, significant confirmation on that front.
I'm going to see December. I'm going to see December.
This year?
Yep.
I don't think so.
Think about it. Think about it. They have no reason. They showed you what some of their games are called. They have no reason to hold it back for another year. They have no reason. You have no reason.
Have you seen the lineup? Have you seen this most
recent
about it.
Nintendo and guess what? They have. Think about it. They're going to sell you, and they're going to have like an updated version of Zelda. They're going to update a Mario Wonder. They're a Mario RPG, which all these games are going to get updates. All of them. Hopefully.
How do you know that?
Hopefully.
It's Nintendo. Look, I do not like to jump to conclusions with Nintendo.
They're going to charge you for it.
Here's the deal. Will do whatever the fuck they want to do. It doesn't matter how fucked up it is. It doesn't matter what the people want. Yeah. They don't give a fuck about anything. No, I do not think that it's coming out this year. I think that you could pretty much count
Usually they have a big game that comes out in December. Usually Nintendo always has nothing that's coming out in December besides Mario RPG that comes out in November. So it would be a perfect time right before holiday season. People are going to open up their fucking pocketbooks and they're going to buy it. Watch.
They're not going, bro. It's already September. Do you expect them to announce the Switch 2 and go up for pre-orders the month prior?
Because they want people to go fucking nuts. People are going to go fucking absolutely out of their minds.
Hold on. We have just been past the COVIDs, okay, bro? We have just gone past it. We have seen fucking mass hysteria, okay? We've seen it. Do you think they actually want to purposefully create that?
I mean, we've seen Nintendo create purposefully more drama in the past, so
yeah.
I agree with you. I still think that's the reasoning. Like, I think the reason it's not coming out this year is because the Switch did a lot for third party that previous Nintendo first party haven't done, and I think that the reason that we're not going to see it till next year is to give ample time for third-party developers, Capcom, Konami, Sega, to really get in touch with the dev kits and get stuff out. Like I'm sure that I'm not even going to buy Sonic Superstars on the Switch, I'm gonna buy it on PC because I'm gonna also buy it for the Switch successor, just because I'm so sure it's coming out that soon, and there's gonna be some sort of updated version of the game for the Switch successor. So not buying a Sonic game on a Nintendo console is like a first for me in a long fucking time. That's how confident I am about the Switch successor.
Okay, I hear you. For me, I just don't see it coming out this year. At any time next year is on the table, because Nintendo has proven in the past with the Switch's release. The Switch released in like March. They have proven they will release at any point during the year. They're not intimidated by any particular time period. So anytime next year it's possible, that's for sure.
When did they say Princess Peach games come out? Didn't they say like February?
Oh, that game looks so good.
It does look pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, that game,
I
was watching that today. I was like, "What? Oh,
she was in a
Peach game, and it looked awesome."
When she with that fucking kung fu outfit, I'm like, yo, bro, I could play a whole game like this. I'm just when Princess Peach is karate kicking bitches in the head. Can I have this? That's it.
Can we get more martial arts video games? I will be tempted to play it, even if it's Princess Peach.
It actually looked fun for once. I'm like, this bitch can bake cake. Okay, this bitch. But can she give the cake? But can she give the cake out though?
So let's talk about the Switch 2. Is that also just more about the Direct as a whole, or is that a separate topic?
Well, we're gonna move on to the Direct, but I did want to just discuss the Switch 2 because it's exciting. I hope that whatever they do, just please Nintendo, please do not make an overly gimmicky, nonsensical console. Like, please don't. Just get. I don't mind a gimmick, but as long, and Oz, you got some feedback on your end, but as long as it's intuitive, like something that I think the Switch was very intuitive. I don't even consider it a gimmick. It is a handheld that projects to your television. That it's great because it's so versatile. Now we have the Steam Deck that's copying it, the Asus ROG Ally. There's a fuck ton of handhelds that project to your TV now. And guess what? The Switch started that. So it's cool to see that. Continue with a successor that is an intuitive whatever the hell. Just make sure that
Wii U started that, but no one bought the fucking Wii U.
I did, and they did not They did not fully realize that.
No, they didn't. I'm a Wii U apologist, but there's a reason I don't own one anymore. Like,
yeah,
I wish they would get rid of the handheld shit. I wish they would.
But a lot of people keep saying this, and it's just like, why? Why do you want the Nintendo console to be the same fucking thing as the Xbox and the PlayStation? Because it's like, why?
I like the separation from a Game Boy from a Nintendo. I like that Game Boy should be a Game Boy and Nintendo should be a fucking Nintendo system.
Then just permanently dock it to your television. You're arguing against having another option.
But the Game Boy is a fucking iconic brand.
Okay.
I mean, I agree with you, but that doesn't warrant giving the player or the consumer less just because of something being iconic.
That's
so
true.
Let's be realistic. If Nintendo is forced to choose either a handheld or a console, they're going to go with the handheld every fucking time.
I know,
because look at where they've been the most consistent on. If you're hoping for a console over a handheld, you're fucking crazy, because Nintendo has found that consistent success with a handheld, so they're not deviating from that. And I don't blame them for that, especially in a market that is the consoles have saturated the market. Everyone's copying the Nintendo Switch at this point. The form factor of the portable handheld that you could dock to your television is a part of the future. And I was actually watching shout out to Doc Dark. He was saying like Nintendo predicted the future, and he was just like, look at this Nintendo Switch and look at my Asus ROG Ally. These handhelds that you can just dock them to the TV, you have all the options. This is where things are now. And he thinks that they will go so far as to everything will be like that. Like, there will be no more consoles in the future. They will just be portable handhelds that you could dock to the television. I don't know if I agree with that, but it's a good thought. It's an interesting thought.
I think most people don't look at the Switch as a handheld though, and myself included. Like I get why you would say that, but really I think most people look at it as a portable console. It's marketed more as a console that you can take with you than as a handheld that you can play in your house. Like, and I think that's better marketing than that's why the Switch doesn't feel like a Game Boy. It doesn't feel like a DS because they treat it like a console.
They do treat it like a console, but I can't in good faith call it a console. It isn't. It is a portable device that projects to your TV. Because like I have like this little handheld device. It plays all my GBA games. It plays a bunch more, and it does the same exact thing. It is a handheld that I can project onto my television.
Right.
So I have to put them in the same like scenario because they're not really different. This is just a retro handheld device that I can project on my TV, and the Switch is
I agree with you. Like in terms of the technicalities and the logistics, I do want them to keep treating it as if it's a console because everyone knows consoles get higher end material. They get better games than handhelds. They get more better. All the games are better optimized. Not all of them, but the majority of games are better optimized. So if they go in with the mentality of we're creating games for a console, I think that's going to give us a better product than we're creating portable handheld games. Because look at fucking Prince of Persia. This looks like a fucking mobile game. Like the new Prince of Persia looks like a fucking mobile game. That's not something you would see.
And guess
on
what?
A console.
There's going to be more of that. There's going to be way more of that. You know why? Because Unreal 5 is going to be promoted to be playing across everything. So
Yay.
The future of gaming, guys. I'm so excited. And Derpnator says, stupid question.
Are
there going to be Switch 2 games like PS2 games? Like, yeah, are you talking about like physical copies or like them just having like a case that says, Switch 2? Is the name going to be Switch 2? I'm not sure what you quite mean by that, sir, but I think there's still going to be physical media. I think that for me, what will convince me to say, no, I don't want this right now, though, personally, with the Switch 2, is if I have to start off from zero with my library again. I'm not willing to do that. I'll wait till a later date, and then if I'll figure out if I really want to switch, if I can't carry over my Switch library to the Switch 2, because in a modern day, in 2023, when the Steam Deck, I can literally take just about all my games off the same library, throw whatever I want on the Steam Deck, and keep it moving. And then the same thing with the Asus ROG Ally. Install Steam, play Steam games, do whatever I want essentially, and take the games that the library own and keep it moving. If the Switch 2 does not allow me to carry over my Switch games, I ain't gonna be feeling that. That to me is gonna be a massive turnoff.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would depend on how much better the Switch successor is than the original Switch. Like, let's say you've got a massive jump in quality. I wouldn't be bothered by it. I mean, there's a lot of rumors and stuff going on about how it's going to be backwards compatible. I hope that's true. I don't know, but like, I want to see. I don't. Again, most people don't play Nintendo games for graphics. They're not sitting over here like, oh, I hope the Switch successor is the next PS5. But I think people do still want to see a hardware jump, and if the hardware jump is significant enough to kind of invalidate the idea of bringing your Switch games over, well, the Switch is already portable. You don't really need that because you can kind of have your Switch with you wherever you go anyway. So it's not really a big deal. That's one of the positives about it being, portable, about it being a handheld, is that you can take it with you anywhere. So if you still want to use your Switch, it's usable just about anywhere, even if you can't move your stuff over to the successor.
Yeah, for me, that will make me say, I could wait on this, because I'd rather just get a Steam Deck. That's me personally. Like, I've been, holding off on getting it handheld because, well, all these shits are expensive. Handhelds are more expensive than ever before at this point. So
did you have you seen the Legion? I can't say the fucking name. It's called a Legion Go. Forget what company it's doing it, but actually separates just like the Switch.
I'm not too sure. I'm not aware of it, but there's a lot. The Switch, Nintendo needs to realize that they are Nintendo, so they are their own thing. But they do have competition, whether they acknowledge it as competition or not. I'm looking at all these handhelds and I'm waiting to see which one I truly want. I'm willing to go with Nintendo because I like owning physical copies of games. I have a pretty big Switch collection. This is just like 1/3 of it. I have another pile over there. There's like half a pile sitting in my friend's house that I let her borrow. There's like another pile downstairs. I have a pretty large Switch collection. I prefer the physical collecting aspect of video games, but for me, if I can't carry that over, and if how do I say it? If the Steam Deck or another handheld device is looking more like seamless with me having the freedom to do. If I feel like I have more freedom on another device, and the Switch too is just like, well, you can't play Switch games on here, then I might prefer to go to another device and just emulate Switch games. And then I could play at least my Switch games on there. Switch 2 won't be a thing. Switch 2 emulation won't be a thing for a long time. It'll eventually happen, but I could wait because at least I could play my Switch games on one of these handhelds at a higher, frame rate, whatever. I have more options there. I'm willing to deal with Nintendo's confines because I do like physical media, and I do think that Nintendo genuinely makes fun games. But they have to be willing to give me some things too.
So you said that the Switch doesn't really have, or that the Switch is in competition, whether it acknowledges it or not. I actually don't necessarily know if the comparison is Barbie and Oppenheimer. Those movies, just because they came out on the same day, they weren't really in competition with one another. They were made for entirely different markets, and there was a little bit of crossover in the middle. I think that's how Nintendo works. They actually don't have any competition. They just have crossover, which is different than competition.
Okay.
Also, RC Scott, you're wrong on every single foreseeable comment you just made there.
What did he say?
GameCube
RC
sucks, and last good Nintendo system was the SNES.
Oh, fuck you.
Yo, that's my boy. I love the man. He has his he stands on his opinions, but he's a good dude. So what's good? RC,
I
good
believe
to see you,
RC
man.
Scott's a good dude. You can be a good person and be wrong. It's all right.
But
Beat you with a GameCube. Get out of here. Beat you with a GameCube.
Dude, you fucking merge. So like I used to have a GameCube. Like I would sit it on a shelf. There was and then because I had a projector, and it would project onto the wall, and I would play. I was playing Sonic Adventure 2, and I yanked the controller, and it brought the entire GameCube down on my head. Game still kept going, no problem. Distant pop out. It almost knocked my ass unconscious, but there was no problem with Sonic Adventure 2. I was able to keep playing
with
after
power.
I put ice on that bitch.
I will say for a fact, given that little story, that at least the GameCube was far more durable than the Dreamcast was, because my brother ran through my freaking controller wire as my Dreamcast, and it shot like a boomerang off a 2-foot night table, and it was a wrap after that. But Justin here is asking, what is that Game Boy clone you have? This is an analog pocket. It is a very expensive it's not an emulation device. You could make it an emulation device, but I actually put physical GBA games in here and plays them
Pokemon
natively.
Sapphire, nice.
Hell
Ruby's
yeah, that's
better,
my
but
shit.
you know.
Well, I mean, I just prefer blue, and that's mostly the crux of it for me, my personal choice. And I stand by it. But very expensive, but plays GBA, Game Boy, shit, what are the other old what is it? The Sega? I forget what the fuck all these handhelds are.
Game
Neo
Gear?
Geo Pocket, Game
Gear.
Gear. Yeah, you can buy like
what about Virtual
different
Boy games? Does it play Virtual Boy games?
Does
What
anyone
about Apex?
really want to play a Virtual Boy game? To be
Does
real?
it play floppy disks? Does it play floppy disks?
Oh my god. No, there's no like thing. You can order like different things to change like how the cartridge fits in. I don't know, it's like a converter, so then you can put like different I'm explaining this terribly. Analog Pocket, they have a website if you want to check it out. Just know that you will spend a pretty penny, and you can buy the thing that you dock it to, so you can play it on the TV if you want to. But I have it, and I have yet to use it because I just love being in my bed just playing Pokemon. But hey, yo, what's good, Rome? Hope you're doing well, bro. Appreciate you becoming a channel member, by the way. But yeah, we might as well get into just the Nintendo Direct, because I think this is going to be a bit divisive amongst us. I know.
I think so.
Yeah. Personally, I enjoyed it. They showed off a lot of different things. Some of it I couldn't give a shit about, and some of it I'm like, dang, you guys are trying to convince me to undust my Switch right now. But Leon, what did you think? I kind of got you to watch it before the show, so I appreciate you checking it out. I know you're a Nintendo guy. What are your overall thoughts?
I took extensive notes on this bitch, and there's one thing I want to call out before any others. Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remaster. This is how you do a motherfucking remaster. They give you the option to toggle between the OG polygons and the modern look. It's coming with all the expansions already included, not selling that shit as extra DLC. It's giving you 3 games in one as a remaster instead of having you do them individually. Like, Tomb Raider 1 through 3 is a perfect example of how you do a remaster. I'm not even a massive Tomb Raider fan. Like, I'm a PS1 guy all day long, but Tomb Raider was one of those series that, like, I played, but it wasn't Resident Evil. It wasn't Spyro. It wasn't Tony Hawk. I'm going to be getting the Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remaster for my Switch just because I want to support how this level of remaster is being done. Like, oh my God, I was beyond impressed with how that looked. That being said, yeah, the Nintendo Direct overall, I enjoy it. It wasn't their strongest direct by a long shot, but I enjoyed it. I'm not a Splatoon fan. I've never cared about Splatoon, but Splatoon 3 looks good for Splatoon fans. Prince of Persia, like I said, looks like a fucking mobile game. Mario Minis, I love puzzle games, but the way they advertised it, it looks really slow paced. So I'm sure if I played it, I'll have fun, but they didn't actually sell me on it. That Music Castle game looked like time wasting fun. There was the Princess Peach game looked awesome. Saga Emerald Beyond looked like an awesome turn-based JRPG. I thought that looked great. And then F-Zero 99. Oh my God. I've been wanting a new F-Zero game for ages. And I know this isn't really a new F-Zero game, but as someone who loves Tetris 99, I'm going to be getting F-Zero 99. I was hoping to see Sonic Superstars, but it wasn't there. Let's lay it on me.
Okay, Debbie Downers, what you guys think about the Nintendo Direct?
Listen.
Yeah, go ahead, Les. Yeah, go ahead.
Listen. Oh, listen. I love Mario. That's my boy. You know that. The fucking puzzle shit? Nah. I'm not doing that.
They gave you like 5 or 10 different types of Mario, though.
Yeah, but they're not all good, all right?
How do you know that? How do you know that, sir?
I played those puzzle ones before. They suck.
Isn't that you talking about Mario versus Donkey Kong?
Yeah, stupid. No, I'm good. I'll pass. Nah, they've made other ones.
No, this is a sequel, but still.
This is a sequel.
Oh, it is a sequel?
They suck. The Peach shit look cool. Give me like fucking 5 minutes of Mario RPG. But that still looks fucking badass. The fucking unicorn shit look kind of interesting. The fuck's it called? Unicorn something? That looked pretty fucking cool. It's an Atlas game. It's called Unicorn something. I thought the name was fucking weird.
I was folding my laundry while watching it. I must have missed it. If it's an Atlas game, I'm sold.
Unicorn Overlord.
Yeah, that looked fucking really dope.
Yeah, Atlas has never missed in my opinion. So by all
means, am I gonna buy it? No, I'm not buying that.
Look,
that look cool.
Look, we have to take into account. This is the final year of the Nintendo Switch. And what they are putting on the table is Luigi's Mansion 2.
Okay.
Hold on. The Princess Peach Showtime. Super Mario RPG. And you may not care about Luigi's Mansion 2, but that's a solid game. I have that on the 3DS. That's a really good Luigi's Mansion game. Mario vs. Donkey Kong. And what is it? Was it the Paper Mario remake, the GameCube remake? This is the final year.
Sell, dude. That game has so much nostalgia to it.
I never got to play it.
I don't like the Paper Mario games. I prefer Super Mario RPG, but people love it. And that game is going to sell.
I've always wanted to play Paper Mario and never got the opportunity, the one on the GameCube. So now I get to have that opportunity and it looks freaking sick. So I'm pretty hyped about that, man. Like, I don't think that everything here has to be for you, but I think arguably there's something here for a Nintendo fan, especially if you're a Mario fan. Like, you're gonna like, and what I appreciate about this is that they are acknowledging that people do not want to play fucking GameCube games on a service in which they can't own the games. Like, that's why I just do not subscribe to the Nintendo Online anymore, because I don't want to have to subscribe to a service to play games I just want to own. They're actually going out of their way to remake Super Mario RPG. I will buy that. They're going out of their way to remake
the secondary market. Like secondary market wise, Nintendo physical copies hold their value extremely well.
God, yeah. Yeah.
Facts. Yeah, so I always buy my Nintendo games, physical copies, just because of that reason. If I end up homeless, the first thing I'm going to sell is my Switch library. I will have good money to bank on for a little minute. Unlike, Xbox or PlayStation, their games mostly degrade in value fairly easily. So, on that front, it's kind of like if you really want a physical copy or not. But Nintendo, it's worth it to buy physical games. I think just the Mario content alone for what is likely the final year of the Switch is impressive. I am thoroughly impressed. That is a good job on Nintendo's part because we expected nothing. Oz, you expected nothing. I expected nothing. I was and sources were claiming, and the sources were bullshit, but sources were claiming that the Switch was going to go out with a whimper. And that is clearly not the case. So, I mean... To me, obviously you can always hope for even more things, but given this is the last year of the Switch, I'm thoroughly impressed by what they presented here.
Official Wrestling says Metroid was nowhere to be found, lol, and neither was Zelda. And I think that's another big indicator that's why we're getting the Switch too soon, because they're saving those big heavy hitters. They're saving Metroid. They're saving the next true Mario game, because these are all remakes or side stories. They're saving the next true Mario game, the next Zelda, the next Metroid for the upcoming successor.
I think, Nintendo has come out and said this, essentially without directly saying they fucked up with the Metroid Prime 4, but they fucked up with Metroid Prime 4. They had to restart the development cycle of the game. They weren't expecting that. But then again, they also shouldn't have announced Metroid Prime 4 before the Switch even launched. So that is also their fault. But I'm not surprised that game is going to the Switch too. I mean, hopefully it's a launch game, or at least it's year one Switch 2. That would be absolutely insane. But they are acknowledging Metroid. It's not the way people were hoping for, but I mean, the last Metroid, what was it? I forget. Metroid Dread. People love that game. Metroid Prime Remaster, I heard, is absolutely amazing. I still need to pick up a physical copy of that. But they are acknowledging Metroid. Metroid Prime 4 is still in development, and they're acknowledging F-Zero for the first time in how long? Besides
so damn happy.
I fucking hate this idea. 99 bullshit. It's fucking stupid. I want a fucking F-Zero game. Hold on,
Oz, what were you getting hyped for prior to the Nintendo event? Why don't you let everyone know how high your expectations were, sir?
Oh, fucking high. They're pretty high. I tried. They're gonna be enough F-Zero games. Listen, hold on. Listen, I'm so fucking done with this last pack of fucking Mario Kart bullshit. Fuck, who gives a fuck about polling that much? They want this bitch in a fucking Mario Kart game. Okay.
I notoriously don't like many. I do not like many Mario characters. There's very few that I like. Pauline's one of the few Mario characters I actually like besides Waluigi. Everyone else is give or take for me.
And do we really need another fucking
go back to Nintendo history? She's the OG Princess Peach. Princess Peach wasn't a thing. We had Pauline, and Nintendo went years without acknowledging Pauline. Now we got to see her make a cameo in the Mario movie. She was a big part of Odyssey. Now she's going to be in Mario Kart 8.
I know.
Oz, you can't deny that Pauline was one of the best parts of Mario Odyssey. She was one of the bigger highlights.
Absolutely was.
Going to
she made a cool song. Thanks.
Yes, and that is a highlight
Back to Brooklyn, bitch. Get out of here.
Oh my God.
Get back to Brooklyn, bitch. Get out of here.
Bitch.
I think that's why she fits perfect in Mario Kart. She's used to New York traffic.
Well, yeah, because she likes to get railed. All right.
Hey, yo. What the fuck am I hearing here? But Wrestling here says I did like that Contra though. What'd you guys think of the remake of Contra?
Awesome. Contra looked pretty badass. Cool. It did catch my attention.
And I think that I'm hoping is gonna have a co-op.
Oh, I'm sure it'll have a co-op. I mean, from the looks of it, they didn't announce a co-op, but it's Contra. We saw both sprites on screen. The updated art for it looks awesome. It's this really cool modern retro that I love to see. I think Contra looked. I still think the best remaster announcement was Tomb Raider, but Contra did look really good.
Yeah,
Tomb Raider was pretty cool.
Don't you guys just feel like we are past the golden age of gaming when they're doing like half of the gaming discussion or most of the gaming discussion is either
Bullshit.
remakes of better times or remasters of better times?
Dude, around the time when I first started my channel, like 7 months or so ago, I did a short because I found this article that was talking about of all the top games of 2022, of the top 10 best-selling games of 2022. I think 7 of them were remakes or remasters. Or maybe that was so
Funny.
far in 2023. Maybe it was like by March of 2023. 5 to 7 of the top games that sold this year were remakes or remasters. Either way, it was a ridiculous number.
Yeah, and I do think that honestly, damn, it's one of those things where I played Tomb Raider as a kid, but I don't know if I can mentally deal with those controls nowadays. I don't know. I want to support it. I'm likely gonna get it. I'm hoping it's not just on the Switch. I'm assuming it's probably gonna be on Steam as well, and I would prefer it there. So that I can get a Steam Deck and have, the Switch, the Switch effect. But
Do you remember the song Jumper by Third Eye Blind?
Yeah.
no.
I wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. That one.
Oh God.
So my favorite memory with Tomb Raider, I was watching my uncle play it, and it was summertime. We had the front room door open, had the radio going, and he had just gotten his PS1 because it's like 96 or 98, something like that. And he's playing Tomb Raider while we're listening to the radio. And the moment he falls off a ledge and dies, that song started playing like as she's falling, and so I cannot separate Tomb Raider from that song.
Yo,
I used to love killing her. I like you made cheese and
killing
shit.
her?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, you mean in the remake?
No, in the old games.
I love watching Lara Croft die in the remake Tomb Raider game, the 2013 game, because every kill was a specific animation that led to an absolutely horrendous death. It was amazing. So Lara Croft, through that first playthrough of the Tomb Raider reboot game, she died a fucking lot for no reason. It's just
you gotta play the older ones then, because she dies a lot in them too. I just fucking jump off cliffs for no reason, just see her die.
I played them, but I haven't played them since I played them as a kid. I played like either 1 or 2 of the first 3. I can't quite remember which ones. It's been so long, but I did enjoy them at the time. I don't know if I could deal with the gameplay now. My level of patience is absolutely horrendous. So I want to support it. I'll likely buy it. Hopefully it's on Steam. But I think I'm going to pull my fucking hair out in the process too. But we'll see. It's good to see because it does look like they really held to what those games are in a very respectful way. So I think that that's awesome, and I want to support that as well. And shout out to Mo Chocolate, who is super hyped about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. He's abandoned the consoles just because he has seen mods of Tifa naked in the Final Fantasy VII Remake. He's just like, fuck consoles, PC Master Race after seeing that. I love you, bro. Good to see you. I'm glad that you are super hyped. That's what it's all about, seeing people happy and looking forward to something in gaming, even though it's mostly remasters and remakes, baby. Like, hey, what are we gonna do, man? But I mean, they showed off Detective Pikachu. That Pokemon.
Was it weird hearing his voice and not hearing Ryan Reynolds in that trailer? Or was it just me?
Yeah, it is weird. It is weird.
Prince of Persia, I think that the game looks fun, but first off, it's not going to be on Steam. Fuck you, Ubisoft. I will wait till you put it on Steam.
No,
it's I believe it's going to be on Epic Game Store.
I'm not too excited for that.
So yeah, that's the bullshit that we have. We have to deal with console Kremlin acts being performed on PC now.
Good Prince of Persia game since the PS2. It's no big fucking loss.
Damn.
I'm playing the one that's coming out next year.
Yeah,
definitely
me too.
It does look pretty fun. I'm just not going to get it until it comes to Steam because I'm stubborn. So that's just me.
Mo Chocolate says, I was not expecting Spider-Man 2 today's state of play. How were you not expecting that? That's the only fucking thing that Sony has.
Well, the reason why was because they stated that it would only be third-party games, and they happened to show a first-party title.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so to be fair, I asked Leon to watch it like literally right then and there. I don't think he was gonna watch it otherwise.
Yeah,
So
I was not gonna watch State of Play, and then Cass hit me up like 15 minutes before it went live, and I was like, "All right, I'll watch it." And yeah, that's a different topic in a bit whenever Cass is ready, because I got thoughts on that fucking State of Play.
but I mean, shit. I don't know if you guys are hyped for anything else, but if you guys have not played Luigi's Mansion 2, I highly recommend it. I played it on 3DS. It's a solid fucking entry. It's just that it was,
I would be more excited if they would bundle it with the original one. I'll have like a package deal. Bundle Luigi's Mansion 2. I'd be okay with that.
Can't you get Luigi's Mansion 1
I don't think so.
on the Switch?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I could be wrong, but I don't think you can.
That's what I think would make sense.
That is fortunate. Another game that they have like standalone DLC for, Eastward. I played Eastward. I love the art. The fact that they do actually have a standalone DLC is pretty cool, and it is kind of a little bit different. So that was interesting. I know that that's kind of like a sleeper for a lot of people. And they're actually doing something with Among Us, which is kind of surprising. Splatoon 3 looks cool for what it is. Dave the Divers almost looks cool, but you have to play as someone that is severely obese. So that naturally is just a turn off to me. So
another
I'm
Code
sorry.
2 Memories looked awful. Just throwing that out there. Another Code 2 Memories looked just fucking generic. It looked like if Studio Ghibli was trying to make that. What was that shitty Square Enix game with the chick in the camera who could rewind time?
Stupid.
Fuck! I can't think of the name.
You know the one I'm talking about.
The chick that's dressed in green.
I don't know. She's a fucking blue hair. She's got a beanie on. Looks like oh my god, it's gonna drive me crazy.
Wait a minute. I think I know what you're talking about. She got like kind of like psychic powers almost, like in a way. Actually, that was a pretty good game.
But
Life is Strange. Life is Strange.
Life is Strange.
Another Code 2 Memories. Like if Studio Ghibli made a Life is Strange game.
It's actually very good. I actually liked it.
You know what? I was more open to shit back when Life is Strange came out. I know if I played that game today, I would hate it. I liked it when I was 20 and foolish, but like I would definitely pick that fucking game to pieces playing it now. And I didn't even bother with the sequel. But another Code, I think that's apparently a remaster of some sort or they're including
it's
like
the
first game.
Remaster of a 3DS Japanese only Nintendo game.
The character looked annoying. I said, no, I'm good.
I mean, it's cool that at least more people are getting. I don't like when they keep certain games in certain regions. I think that's fucked up. I would like everyone to at least have the opportunity to play a game. So just based upon that, that's cool. Hopefully, it's a good game. Know nothing about it, but hey, man, at least like more people get to experience the game without having to literally do some shit like getting it mailed to you from overseas, whatever. Like that's something in the past. It's such a dick face thing for these companies to have done. But
did anybody ever play Battle Stadium DON? I had to get that shit from Japan, and it was totally fucking worth it. It was the One Piece Dragon Ball Naruto crossover game that was a Smash Bros knockoff. And it was never released in America. I paid like $120 for it, got it shipped here, and it was awesome. It was super fun. It was complete Smash Bros ripoff, but super fun. I had no idea what I was actually doing because since it was never released in American, like there was no way to change it to English. But you'd occasionally hear like because it's cool to speak English in Japan, like all the announcers would speak English. They'd be Battle Stadium DON, and it was a lot of fucking fun to play. Like you should emulate it if you give them the chance and just have Goku whoop Naruto's ass for being a copycat.
Hell yeah! That was a good pitch.
I had to do that for Fire Pro Wrestling before it came to America.
Wait, what'd you say? My bad.
I said I used to do that to Fire Pro Wrestling before it came to America. I used to buy it from Japan.
Yeah, that's a game. I don't have the temperament to play that game and learn anything. I
don't anymore.
Dumb fucking bitch playing a Fire Pro Wrestling game. But any final thoughts on the Switch Direct? Personally, I thought it was pretty good, especially given it's the last year of the Switch.
Yeah, I think I give it like a 7 overall, 7 out of 10. It was far more than I thought, given that we were at the end of the Switch's life cycle. I did not think we could have this much.
Gotcha.
I give it a 3.
F-Zero really cut you deep, didn't it, buddy?
Buddy,
Yeah.
I did. I want a fucking new F-Zero game so fucking bad. This was a complete cock. This was cock tease. This was cock tease. Okay.
I'm
Fuck it.
hoping that if enough people download this, it will show Nintendo that there's interest in continuing the franchise, main title wise.
And the fact that we get another fucking iteration of Peach and fucking Mario Kart without this motherfucker not being in Mario Kart, you're only racer. You're only racer.
No, not
Why
only
is he
Racer,
not in
Wave
Mario
Race
Kart?
is the thing. I want to see Wave Race come back.
Fuck Wave Race, that game. Soak that bitch from the bottom of the ocean.
You're
Fuck
like,
that game.
Only racer. I throw out another racer. You're like, no, fuck that game. It doesn't count. It's called Wave Race. Race is in the title.
You're gonna get fucked by dolphins, and I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Getting gangbanged by dolphins, Oz? That's your way of having a good time?
No, I'm good. They're trying to free anybody's willing, okay? All right.
Oh my god. Jesus. Okay, well, next up, okay, so we got to talk about Starfield because
we do.
Yes,
We
we
do.
do because
I'm going to sleep.
it is a bit.
Me too. All right.
Oh my god. Well,
I'll
you
talk
gave your
about
thoughts,
Starfield with
Oz.
you, Cassie.
Well, overall, look, man, I'm done having the debate with people that think that Starfield is woke. I'm fucking tired of it. Especially when I played it for like fucking 80 hours at this point. I don't even remember how many hours I have it. I have to go look on my Steam again. But I have like 80 hours in it. And the only thing problematic I've come across is that they showed my pronouns. I didn't choose. They just gave me the default pronouns because they gave me he, him because I made a male character. And that was it. And I proceeded to play the fucking game. So like, a lot of people have given so much pushback towards this game because of that. And I'm just done fucking trying to reason with people on this. It's just the dumbest fucking thing. It's by Bethesda standards. You have to understand, I have to be honest with this shit. Bethesda standards tend to be lower than the average game that comes out standards. They're
open world games, to be fair. They're open world games. Like even
they're
within
open
Doom,
world
those are all
messes. No, to be fair, it's like I'm talking about particularly games that were made by their in-house. Now, Evil Within was made by Tango Gameworks.
Yeah.
Shinji Mikami's team, Tango Gameworks. They're different. Like they definitely, to me, I think they have a higher standard and / quality of games. But like talking particularly about Bethesda in-house,
okay,
their games are open world messes. Like they're fucking disasters. And I have to say, Starfield so far has been the least disastrous over the past like fucking 10 fucking years. Okay, Fallout 4 was an enormous fucking disaster for me. Okay, I couldn't start the Brotherhood of Steel quest line. That was the side I wanted to side with. I couldn't side with them because I couldn't start the fucking quest line because it glitched before I even got there. I couldn't tell when the fuck it glitched, so it wasn't like, oh, I could go back 2 saves and then go there and it'll be all fixed. No, I have no idea when the fuck it decided to up and fuck up on me. So I just had to live with it. And so I turned evil in the game and went full on synth out of anger and hatred for the game. Okay, and even then, despite hating the fucking game, I somehow managed to finish it and put like over 200 fucking hours. That's just how it is with Bethesda's games. But I'll sit here and say how fucking shit they are because a lot of the Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 are fucking dog shit. But with Starfield, I have encountered far less bullshit than I did while playing Fallout 4. By a lot. The only issue that I've had with this fucking game is literally I came across these like they look kind of like spiders. They're like big spiders. They're and they will crawl up to the surface and all you see is dust and then they magically appear. So either it's the animation is glitched or Bethesda said, well, fuck animations. Surprise, motherfucker. That's either one or the other. I can't say for sure if it's a glitch or not. But that's the only issue I've come across. And when I went up to my ship, like randomly, like food just flung across the room from the table. That's the only issues I've had thus far. By Bethesda standards, Starfield's good.
Posted in the Discord the only major glitch he had, I think it was Izzy, the only major glitch he had seen. And it was like he talked to this couple and then got the dialogue done, and they kept talking with each other, but the wife just started phasing through all the walls and the countertops. But to be fair, if he's 40 episodes in, or 40 hours in, that was like the first glitch he come across. That is good by Bethesda standards.
Yes, and like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's a great game, but by Bethesda standards, it's pretty fucking good. Now, a lot of people thought that this was gonna be more than what it was. Oz not included. Thankfully, I convinced Ozzknot to not buy the early version of the game that unlocks for you early. He didn't buy it because I told him not to, or at least he was pretending he was gonna buy it. Yeah, because I'm like, a lot of people were thinking that this was going to be somehow more than a Bethesda open world RPG game. No, it is a Bethesda open world RPG game, but now it's an open universe game.
Props to them for bringing back the silent protag, though. I'll give them credit there.
That really does help a lot. At least they save more dialogue for the NPCs. So I think that that's a big positive, because that was one of my biggest complaints with 4. They had to use so much dialogue for the main characters that all the NPCs said the same shit just about no matter what options you chose. It's like, what the fuck? Where's the role play?
I didn't mind your character speaking as well. I prefer a silent protag, but I didn't mind the character speaking so much. What I didn't like was the dialogue tree. Like, it would just say sarcastic, positive, negative, but you didn't actually see what was being said. Like, I like to know what my character's going to say, because that's how you role play. Is what would the role you're playing say here? Because if the sarcastic response is not something better than like the positive or negative response, that's going to alter my choice. So I want to know what the dialogue actually is. And yeah, there were mods that fixed that, but like, it should have been like that from the get-go. So I like that Starfield has gotten back to the more like Fallout 3 style of doing things.
Yeah. For me, it's like, I wouldn't have mind a speaking protagonist in Fallout 4 if it didn't feel like it diverted assets from like the NPCs dialogue trees, like their options. But it clearly felt like they just wasted all this dialogue for characters that I'd rather just shut the fuck up anyway and just let me read it in my little voice.
But
my
Cassie,
little head.
Another settlement needs your help.
Kill me, please. But like, my biggest complaints, man, is like, there's no Marcus Junk option. Like, you can't like favorite planets, ones that you want to particularly return to. Like you can't look back at previous dialogue. So like, there's been times where I've been in the middle of like a dialogue with like a NPC, and like I get drawn away, Ziggy be on some bullshit, or someone's calling me, so I leave and then come back and it's like, oh fuck, I don't remember what you even said, and you're asking for a response. So like, I'd have to restart the entire dialogue all over again. So if they just gave you like a dialogue summary that you can click on and just see everything that was said prior, that would be helpful. That would be a modern feature, I guess. And the Outer Worlds did that, so I don't see why. And honestly, I love the Outer Worlds. I will say I do like the Outer Worlds a little more than Starfield, but I could see myself playing Starfield for the rest of the year, as long as it doesn't glitch on me. That's me personally.
Now, how is the story of Star? Because like I said, I'm actually going to start playing it probably this weekend, because I haven't started playing it.
It's interesting.
Other people play it, but
that's what I did like about it. It's very interesting.
I think Bethesda open world games do that usually very well. Like, I understand Cassie's complaints about Fallout 4 in terms of the glitches and dialogue, but like, I love the story of Fallout 4. I like it better than the story of Fallout 3, if I'm being honest. And New Vegas. So I like good story driven games, and that's where I think Bethesda's real appeal is.
So off the bat, and I don't even think this is like debatable. This is the worst intro out of anyone. I've heard a lot of boring. I actually like Fallout 4's intro. Like, I was hyped as fuck. Like, the way that shit went down was actually very interesting. Got me into it. This is the most shittiest intro out of all the Bethesda open world RPGs I've played. So be prepared for that. But it does pick up from there. So I think that that's a good thing. I have been just like doing my own thing. I haven't even been doing main mission shit. I've been mostly exploring planets, fucking looting like crazy, going into like underground things and killing a bunch of like, people on all these planets and looting all their shit and doing side stuff. Like, I've been going through what is the free, like, basically you're kind of like a deputy, and you kind of like with the Freestar Collective. I've been going through that quest line, so that's been interesting. I love Western shit, so that was kind of cool, and I'm still going through that, but I've enjoyed what's been presented so far. My other big complaint with Starfield is that the menu navigation is a lot. It is more than the average like Bethesda game. Like when you're in Oblivion or when you're in Skyrim or Fallout, you want to fast travel, you just go to the map and you just click on where you want to go. It's all one map. And this, it's a whole universe, so there's different maps for different areas, and you just feel like you're navigating a lot more, which I get it, but it doesn't. It does take away because it is extra, and I won't remember any. I'm not going to remember anything. Like they're going to be like, I'll be like, oh, I have to return to this place because there was a particular thing that you can mine there. I won't remember what it is, particularly because I can't star anything off. So that to me is a big thing. It is convoluted, and I understand why, but the way they chose to go about it, I don't know if there's a better way to have done it, because it is like the first. This game is really like, for them, this is their first like open universe, so it is hectic on that front.
Well, I see a lot of people online comparing it to Outer Worlds, which makes sense, but I also saw a lot of people comparing it to No Man's Sky, and to me, that one doesn't make sense at all. No Man's Sky is a flight simulator, first and foremost, whereas this is an open world RPG. They are not the same game design philosophy.
They are definitely with all the new updates they've had. It's there and Steam close. It just doesn't have that story. It has a little bit more story.
It's not an RPG though. No Man's Sky is a space sim though.
It is now though.
How does it do that if it doesn't have a story?
Yeah, I'm confused with the same thing.
It's so you can like, I've watched some more gameplay of like what you can do now in it. You can like go, you can like pick up bounties, and you can like fucking do more role play like type shit than you could do before. It's fucking weird how
I'm trying to understand what he's saying, but he's body.
Yeah, I know his audio is coming in like a fucking bag of smashed assholes.
I know I was. Stinky assholes.
But the thing is, just because you have a silent protagonist and you can role play through the world doesn't mean that it's necessarily like an RPG.
Yeah, I mean you could make Minecraft an RPG by using that same logic.
Like I think that No Man's Sky is a far better game now than what it was when it came out. But it's not an RPG game. You can treat it that way if you want to, if that helps you like be more invigorated. I mean, I treated, a lot of games. Oh my god, this fucking guy. People treat GTA like it's a role play game, GTA Online. There's literally an entire like category on Twitch and Kick for role playing GTA Online, but it doesn't mean that GTA is a role play game. People just treat it as such, and it actually can become a really decent role play experience because people treat it that way and go that extra mile with it. And shout out to Blaze, who said to take off his hat. Now I stole it from you, motherfucker, and I got away with it successfully too. Ha 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 ha! Evil laugh. By the way, Blaze, Blaze is the Waluigi of the gaming community. Just so you guys know, he literally looks just like him.
No, that's Luigi. Fuck that.
Blaze is going to be Waluigi. Is going to be playing Bomberman 2 tomorrow on his live stream, and he's going to give away copies of the game.
He doesn't got the fucking snots for it.
This is facts, but he also has the mustache for it too. But shout out to Blaze. He's doing a giveaway for the game. So if you guys want to check that out tomorrow on his YouTube channel, if you're into Bomberman, that's definitely an exciting thing. But
and if you're not, just check out Blaze's channel anyway.
Facts, big facts. Definitely check out Blaze's channel. He is making consistent content. So we got to shout out the brother for doing his thing. We all appreciate that. And he's a very entertaining dude. So I hope that he continues to be consistent, man. That's what's up, bro. But for me, I'm just done talking about the whole Starfield is woke shit. People want to like bitch about it, and they continue to fight back, even though it's like,
what was that?
Oh my god. Holy shit.
Yo,
To infinity and beyond. You're
crazy.
buzzing.
Holy shit. Oh my god, my brain hurts. But hold on. I did actually want to show you guys a rip. I did want to show you guys a comment that I got. And mind you, this is on my, I said that this will be my last video talking about this shit. But I just wanted to let everyone know that unlike most of these fucking like grifters out here that just want every fucking thing to like they just go with the narrative on everything. I've been the only one that's like actually like not a grifter, and I've chosen to be fucking consistent on just
the only one. Bitch, I also been attacking people calling this game woke. I don't want to hear that only one.
No, I don't mean it like that. Because it's like I know that you kind of do like entertainment. You're not like particularly, I don't know how to say it. And plus I remember meeting you. I don't know if it was like during the Hogwarts Legacy controversy or a little bit afterwards.
It was like right before Hogwarts Legacy it came out. It was February of this past year, or maybe late January.
Yeah, so like it was like during that crazy ass time. Oh my god! Please don't tell me I can't bring up. You know what? Hold on. I'm just gonna have to read off this comment. Because this is the type of fucking deranged lunacy that we're dealing with when it comes to this argument on if fucking Starfield is mega woke and you should boycott it because it's fucking woke. But it's like, bro, I'm just so over the pettiness of this, man. And this just goes to show you exactly how fucking petty people are. So this person says, and I read, a black guy named Vladimir, 99% of the NPCs being a weird melting pot that makes no sense. All the girl bosses and female scientists in the entire game. The complete lack of decent evil characters or factions. The complete lack of gore and a suspicious amount of essential NPCs and many other details and the completely safe quote-unquote writing. Sure, man, if Starfield isn't woke, then nothing is. And don't get me started on Baldur's Gate 3. This is their list of what classifies Starfield as woke. Now, I know that you've been saying, like, Leon, you've been saying that people need to properly distinguish what is woke. And, like, after me reading that list, how do you feel about, like, the use of what is woke and how people have been treating Starfield?
The idea that, you know, oh, black people in a game, that makes it woke, like, you are fucking retarded. Like, yeah, Friday the 13th, the remake of Friday the 13th came out in like 2012 or whatever. Guess what? Black dude's in it. Doesn't make the movie woke. At one point, he talks in the movie about like wanting to start a label, a music label. And one of the characters assumes, oh, you're going to start a rap label? He's like, what? Just because I'm black doesn't mean I don't like Green Day? And like, she's like, oh, I'm sorry. He's like, no, it'll be a rap label. Like, that's funny as shit. But if you were to write that scene now in 2023 instead of 2013, you would bet Ben Shapiro would be doing a fucking segment on it. And it's the same thing with Starfield. Like, there's a difference between woke and actually progressive, and I don't generally like what's considered progressive because I don't think it is, but you still gotta make that distinction. Nothing I've seen in Starfield thus far has been woke. Tokenized pandering, yeah, maybe you could say that, but that's still not the same as woke. And even if it is, it's a fucking 120 plus hour game. I don't care about NPCs or whatnot. Like, if the NPCs were going around talking about the patriarchy or how it's so great that in the year 2033 they defeated white supremacy and that's why we were able to take to the stars, that would be woke. But so far as I can tell, that ain't fucking happening in this game. It's just the black NPCs.
Yeah, and it's like, bro, if there's like a legitimate like concern with the game, then I would like literally speak out and highlight that. Like, I'm not fucking opposed to that. Like, a good piece of my channel does point out bullshit in the gaming space. And so it's not like I'm trying to defend Starfield because I'm a Bethesda fangirl. I've shit on Fallout 4. Fallout 76, I laughed when it got leaked out and said, yeah, this is a broken piece of shit. And then they announced it and it was real. And I'm like, yeah, it's definitely going to be a broken piece of shit. And then come to find out it's not because I'm a fangirl of Bethesda. They've gotten a lot of fucking criticism from me. It's not because, just because I'm a tomboy, it doesn't mean I fall into like the wokies or whatever the fuck. Like, no, I'm not about that shit.
Matter of fact, I just hate you more because you won't change your fucking gender.
I won't conform to their fucking ideological bullshit. But realistically speaking, fucking Starfield is not woke. Yes, it has pronouns. It has little highlights. But in my opinion, with those things, they aren't, like, first off, it's just the fact that they aren't trying to browbeat you. They're not trying to fucking, get you, trying to convert you. They're not doing any of that shit. They just are trying to be a capitalist company and trying to appeal to as many people as possible without trying to necessarily turn off anybody.
If it was so woke, why do all the fucking woke people also hate it? The Gamer released 3 articles in one day talking about how bad it was that the game pretty much forces you to be a cop and how the game is pro-cop. Like, it was like Spider-Man, Insomniac Spider-Man all over again with Starfield. So if it's so woke, how come the woke people aren't loving it? Like, no, it's the fact of the matter is they did what they want to do. They just made a game, and they made a game that happens to include things that can be like, so what the woke people do is they take stuff that's in this game, but they exaggerate it to the nth degree. They'll have a bunch of black characters or have a bunch of lesbian characters or whatever, and they'll talk about the patriarchy, white supremacy, like all this dumb stuff that people want out of their games. But just having them there doesn't make something woke. When the people extrapolate it and make a big deal, that does. This game isn't doing that, and it's so maddening to see people who are jumping at shadows because they've been in the culture war for so damn long. Like that comment that you read ended with, don't get me started on Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3, in my opinion, yes, that game is woke. Now, is it woke to the degree that it's unplayable? From what I've seen, no, I don't think so. But I also think that's a fair comparison. There are some massive political and social differences between Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield that just because both of them have a pronoun option or something like that does not mean they're going to the same degrees of quote unquote wokeness. It's very disingenuous to make that argument.
Yeah, and honestly, like, on the spectrum, I get the fucking spectrum of wokeness, like literally out of Hogwarts Legacy, Baldur's Gate 3, and fucking Starfield. Starfield is the most chilled back.
By far.
Literally by leaps and bounds. And people were cool with Hogwarts Legacy. Some of the same people shitting on Starfield were defending Hogwarts Legacy. Some of the same people that are shitting on Starfield were defending Baldur's Gate 3. But here we fucking are at Starfield. And I'm like, bro, it's even... like, it has less bullshit than these previous 2 games that we were, like, championing and supporting. But all of a sudden, this one is, like, the one that, no, we draw the line here, motherfuckers. Like, I just can't believe how ridiculous, like, people are getting. And it's, like, this on top of, like, PlayStation fanboys just being super upset that they can't play the fucking game or they can't play it on the system that they want to, and literally just doing nothing but talking about the Metacritic score and bullshit like that. Things that don't matter. This is why I'm so glad. And we might as well, like, sort of cross over into the final topic of the night, which is the PlayStation State of Play. And I said it on Twitter because I don't give a fuck. I'm so fucking glad that a PlayStation State of Play happened, because at least we get to be excited about something in regards to PlayStation. And so, well, for me, yes, I'm actually kind of excited.
There was one game here that I thought looked fucking awesome, and when we get to it, I think you're gonna, think I'm surprising that it's the one game to me that stuck out.
Yeah, but, like, honestly, I've just seen, like, PlayStation fanboys, not the regular average PlayStation person that's just playing their games. No, like these fucking console Kremlins on fucking Twitter that are just do nothing but talk about Sony's financials, PlayStation 5 sales, and fucking Starfield's Metacritic score. They don't talk about fucking video games. They aren't about that shit. They're instead just talking about these things. And it's like, y'all call yourselves gamers. More like fucking grifters and dick faces, but I digress. But I'm glad that a PlayStation State of Play happened, and they showed some things. It was like a handful of things, but they did catch us by surprise, because they were saying, "Oh, all you're gonna see here is Indie VR2 and like third-party stuff." So people weren't expecting Spider-Man, but they threw that in there. But Leon, I know that you have some things you got to say about this. What are your thoughts?
But beforehand, just finalize your last thought there. Is like, you said these people call themselves, quote unquote gamers. It's because of people like this I've not called myself a gamer. I used to be, dude, a day one release hound. I would always buy the consoles. Like, I've been out of the gaming space the last 4 or 5 years because of all the woke shit and whatnot, because it's getting to where I'm not having fun in the communities, I'm not having fun with the games, and so I'm taking a step back. And 2023 has been the first year where I've actively, happily called myself a gamer again. Like 2023, it's been awesome to genuinely say, I feel like I am a gamer again. I feel like the communities have started to sort of like soften up and become, or really harden, I guess the better word, because they went too soft and that was the problem. And then shit like this happens to remind me, oh, yep, nope, it's still there. So you're 100% right. It is all grifting. But as far as the state of play goes, I said there was only one good game. There's about 3 that I thought looked great, but one that I thought looked really good. And believe it or not, that was Avatar. Avatar looked awesome to me.
Are you an Avatar guy?
No, not at all. I don't give a fuck about the Avatar movies. I've seen the first one twice. I've never seen anything else. But that Avatar game was visually gorgeous, and it actually looked fun to play. It looked like if Halo was taking place in the Avatar world, and that was it. Like, I was like, oh my god, this looks like Halo to me. And it was, I could not believe that of all projects that were in the state of play, an Avatar thing is what got me. And then there were some JRPGs that looked good too. Tales of Arise, awesome, and Star Rail.
Really
I think it was called Star Rail. Looked really good, but that was about it. Like the Ghostbusters reveal. I think I was watching this with my best friend, and he put it. I don't think there's a better way to put it. He said, "This game looks like if we were like 8 or 9 years old, it would be a lot of fun." Like, I think the Ghostbusters game looks like a game I would have loved as an adolescent, but it does not strike my fancy right at all. But if young kids are going to play it and get into Ghostbusters, then you know what? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting as a VR game. But with me, I thought that personally, and TJ, you're probably gonna scoff at this, but I thought that the Avatar game looked actually pretty good. I was actually surprised because I know it's under Ubisoft, and that's me as someone that I would rather die than sit through another Avatar movie. I think that they're just giant fucking blue shit. That's pretty much how I feel about that. But TJ, I know that you were anticipating the PlayStation State of Play.
I
In
was.
hopes of having a reason to boot up your PS5 because
I wouldn't say I was
your
anticipating anything.
your PS5 is collecting dust and you have yet to actually sell it. So I would think that you're kind of anticipating a reason to boot up. You know,
No, sir, I booted up to charge my phone and my headset. That's about it. I don't use it for anything else. Like the last game that I'll have to finish Final Fantasy 16 at some point, maybe. But yeah, as of right now, what was shown at the state of play, I mean, it was cool. Like Final Fantasy caught my attention. But it's still a trilogy of one game, so they're breaking it up into 3 different parts, and I'm waiting for all of those parts to be available so that I can purchase them in one shot. In terms of Resident Evil, it was cool. I don't care about VR. It's not interesting to me, but you know, for those that have it, it'll be something that they can utilize. And it's just additional. The Ada Wong, the Ada Wong expansion that they have, it's only $10. I don't know how many hours it'll be, but the fact that it's 10, I don't think that's horrible. So if you play it for 6-7 hours for $10, I don't think that's a big deal. I think that's a solid price. In regards to, I'm trying to remember what else we watched.
Her voice acting is god fucking awful.
It is, and the fact that she's like the main person that we have to listen to is gonna be unbearable. But the gameplay is probably gonna make me stay, even though she's not.
I'm gonna play the game in Japanese, maybe.
You know what? That's a good idea. I might play it in the Japanese audio with subtitles because that American, like Asian woman they have doing a voice, she just doesn't have any. She talks like I do. Like, it's weird. It's like she's very stoic. It's weird. I don't want to hear that. Like when I'm listening to like some voice acting, I want to hear some highs, some lows, and I don't get that with her. She's very centered. Like she doesn't get excited.
Doesn't have a personality.
Charisma. There's no personality there. It's like there's none of that comes with the voice acting from this character. Leon, the dude that does the voice for Leon, he smoked it. Like Resident Evil 4 remake was incredible. You know, so everybody did their
No,
part
it wasn't.
except for Ada.
No, it wasn't. Like the guy that did Leon was good, but that game wasn't fucking good. Like the Resident Evil 4 remake was not a good game. It was not a good remake. It was not a good game in and of itself. And here's the problem with the Resident Evil 4 fucking remake that there was a DLC that was announced. Oh, whoopee, you're giving us a VR version of a game that already sucks, and then you're giving us the Ada DLC that was part of the original game. I don't want to pay 10 extra fucking... First of all, when the game came out, it was a $50 game because games weren't $60 yet. Now you got to pay $70 for the game if you pay the deluxe edition, or $60, plus an extra 10 for DLC for something that was in the original version. They literally just took something that was already there, cut it off, and they're reselling it for an extra $10. Fuck that.
Well,
you're Resident Evil
4.
You're OG RE4 period.
Yeah, he played the original, which is I can hear the passion. It's cool.
Yeah. Oh, dude, yeah. But even if I hadn't played the original, that's a scummy fucking business practice. Here, we're gonna remake this game, sell it to you for more money than it was originally, cut content, then resell you that content as DLC later as well for an extra cost. That's just shitty fucking business practice.
Yeah, I mean, it is for us, but not for them. Like, they obviously want to make money, and obviously they put more. There's more production value in this game versus the original.
If I gave you a bottle, if it was hot outside, and I told you I'm gonna sell you a bottle of water, and that bottle of water is $3, but it was only 75% full when I used to sell them for 100% full, and you're like, hey, why can't I have the whole thing? You're like, oh, I can give you the last 25% in this bottle, but it's gonna cost you an additional $1.50. No, that'd be shitty on my part. Yeah, I would make more money, but it would still be scummy.
But it's supply and demand. So if there's no other option for me to get water, I have no other option than to pay for it or just not have anything to drink. So for those that don't want to get the DLC, for those that don't want to get the DLC, they don't have to play it.
Right, and I completely agree with that. But in terms of like, you're like, hey, I can just go without water, and that's entirely true. But it would still be a scummy business practice for me to do, regardless of the individual, regardless of the customer. Having that mentality is still a scummy thing to do from a business perspective. If I offer a product, and then I tell people this product is going to be XYZ, in this case it's going to be a remake, and then I finally come out with that product and it's only 70% of a remake, even though it's been touted as a remake, and then saying, yeah, I can give you the full additional 30%, but it's going to cost more. That's just not good business practice. That's not something that I want to see these game developers and these companies do, because if that was the case, we see this problem being exacerbated because people go in and they keep buying it anyway because we've got uneducated consumers, or worse, consumers that don't care, apathetic consumers. There's like, new game, let's buy new game. No, fuck these morons, fuck these retards. Either give us a product that's 100% complete, or the consumer needs to be smart enough to vote with their wallet. But no one's gonna fucking do that. They don't want to do their research. Go for it.
The reason why they did it is they know that they can get away with it. That they, there's going to be an insane install base either way.
Games. So Capcom does this with all of their games. So if you are a Capcom supporter, this is nothing new to you. Monster Hunter, they put Ryu in Monster Hunter. Like, come on, like look at what we're talking about right now. Like they do things for you to pay more money for things. So that's they're smart in terms of business. And for the consumer, it's not good, obviously. But in that
instance, they're offering something new. This is not something new. What there's them offering Ryu and Monster Hunter is them being like, here's the game of Monster Hunter. And now, as an additional option that was never before done, here's this cool extra thing you can buy. Whereas the Resident Evil, they said, here is this game for $70 that is 70% short of what the original is. And now for more money, you can make it like the original. You hypothetically have to spend $20 to $30 more for this game to be the same thing that you would have bought in 2005 when the original came out. That's not... that's predatory. It's not just Capcom. A bunch of game companies do it.
I mean, and lowest expectations here says the Final Fantasy VII stuff is the definition of milking it, and it's like Final Fantasy VII remake is doing the same thing as Resident Evil 4 remake, but Final Fantasy VII remake is doing it on a grander scale. So, like, for me, it's like I think that it is a scummy business practice, but inevitably, like, depending on the game, so like if I'm not interested in the game, then I won't cave because I don't care anyway. But if I'm really like hyped for the game, then I end up caving. So it's like it's shitty because I know I'm getting like kind of like fucked over in the end because like they're just doing a remake of a game, and and it's like one of those things where like they're siphoning pieces out or dividing it into parts to maximize profit. But we all cave for a particular game that just
Right.
it happens to us all. It happens to the best of us, and it sucks that they can't just do the right thing when it comes to a remake. Have it be a dedicated remake that it actually includes the entire game.
Yeah. If they want to add DLC on top of that, that's 100% fine. Like if they wanted to put out a Resident Evil remake that was the 100% the original game, and then on top of that do DLC, that would be completely fine. Snafu says it wasn't in the original. Yes, it was. It was not in the GameCube release of Resident Evil 4 because it didn't have the space. But 6 months later, when it came out on PS2 and every port since then where they had the space, the Ada stuff has been there. So it was literally just a space
so
issue,
Capcom has always been kind of scummy.
Yeah, this is nothing new. Like if you want to think about it, look at how many iterations of Street Fighter used to hit the arcades, then it would hit the consoles. Like they've been consistent, so I can't get upset at them for being them. They're a business. They're doing what businesses do. They maximize profits, so they're going to do things to get the most out of the consumer.
Right, but that doesn't make it a good. Maximizing profits.
You guys are having
a good business practice.
You guys are having like two different conversations. To be fair, like one is a morality conversation, and the other is just a business.
Yeah, I can't look for a conglomerate to be moral for the people. Therefore, the dollar.
As the consumer can ask for that, and that's a fair ask. If I am the consumer who gets to decide what I spend my money on, and the company says we're doing XYZ, then I, as the consumer, can speak with both my wallet and speak with my voice and say, I don't like that you're doing this, which is what I'm doing right now. And in an open letter, to Capcom or whatnot, hey, this was a shitty thing to do. Snapmove says the original game is different. That's the problem. The original game is different. This is supposed to be a remake. So I wanted the same game, but with prettier graphics. That's it. I didn't want $70 or 70% of the game to be different. I was paying my money as a consumer for a remake of a game, not a completely different game that has some similarities. That is disingenuous.
Yeah, I mean, technically, and even Final Fantasy VII remake is literally not a remake.
Yeah,
like
most
they've
remakes that are made,
it.
like if you're remaking a game that people know from years ago, changes are going to be made. So
really,
I can't expect everybody
anything with Dead Space, and Dead Space came out awesome. They changed barely anything with Dead Space, and Space came out awesome.
That's an exception. That's not the rule. The majority of the time when a remake of a game is made, there's changes made to the game.
But there's different words that mean specific things. You have the remake term, then you have the reimagining term, and then you have the remaster term.
Reimagining and reboot change things. Remake does not change, or technically you shouldn't. That's why we have words like reboot, like what Tomb Raider did. We have reimaginings. The whole point of a reimagining is you're imagining something different. A remake is you're making the same thing again. You are remaking it. This wasn't touted as a reimagining. It was touted as a remake.
Yes, but every company uses remaster or remake.
They do use it wrong. They use it. There's companies out there that use it wrong.
If that's how they use it, and that's what they're going off of, then that's what it is. I can't get upset at the company for doing whatever they're gonna do. I don't care about the profits.
What do you mean you can't get upset? Yes, you can get upset at the company.
The thing is,
a company's gonna do what they do.
Yeah, they're gonna lie if they can get away with it, and they got away with it. So technically, it is.
Get upset about it. Like you could still get upset. You absolutely can get upset at a company for doing what they do, and you could, better than anything, you can vote with your wallet. And so I'm out here telling people,
I can vote with my wallet, but that doesn't mean I'm upset about it. If I see it, I say, okay, they're doing what a company does. They're a conglomerate. Okay, cool. I'm going to put my money elsewhere. Like it's not. I don't really give it that much thought.
I mean, but I do. I'm passionate about this game. I'm passionate about this series, and I hate what it's become. I hate what it's turned into. I mean, like Cassie was saying earlier, she's done, ragged on Fallout 4 for literal years. I mean, you could just easily say, well, Bethesda gonna Bethesda. There's no point in being upset about it. But no, Fallout 4, Fallout 76 had some legitimate problems. And instead of making a good game, they decide to fucking put Skyrim on a
what it is?
Leon,
I do agree with you, like, fundamentally, but I think the reason like we're kind of just like whatever, because I like, it's one of those things where I kind of see TJ and your point, but like I'm kind of also like, I agree with you, but I'm also in the kind of like whatever, specifically because we're in an industry in which Capcom is the crimes that they commit are like smacks, like they're just like mosquito bites, and then like you have other companies like Konami that are smacking you in the fucking face with a metal shovel.
Capcom is the best of a bad situation. I'll completely agree that what Capcom is doing in most instances is far less egregious than what a lot of these other companies are doing. I will totally concede that point. But the appeal that I'm trying to make to individuals is that, you know, if you're going to purchase a product, then you need to be completely aware of what that product is, especially if Capcom is going to continue making this stuff, you know, in the future, remaking games, making new products, whatnot. Then we as fans should have our voices heard. Like with Sonic the Hedgehog, when the trailer to Sonic the Hedgehog was released, he looked like the devil, and then fans threw their hands up all over the internet and said, "Fix this shit." And the company listened. So we know companies will listen if fans complain loud enough, long enough, and for the right things. I think it's justifiable to complain about a remake of a game being incomplete. At least it was playable, unlike something like Jedi Survivor, but it was still incomplete.
Yeah, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Fake Pear Bear. Thank you so much for the 10, bro. You totally didn't have to. He said, "Hope you have a great streamcast. Been a while since I popped in. I'll hit you up later. Tuned in and listening." Yeah, I appreciate that, fam. It's always good to hear from you. And thank you so much for the 10, bro. I hope that you're enjoying the back and forth. It's definitely entertaining for sure. And I like Leon, it's one of those things where it's like people in the chat are going at you, and it's like, I get it, but you're like, I also understand where you're coming from too. Like you're kind of like, you're like a longtime Resident Evil 4 fan. Like you love Resident Evil overall.
I've been playing since 98.
Like you appreciate like the entire franchise, but 4 seems to be like your number one. Like that is your heart, where your heart and soul is at. And you were hoping for this remake to be as close to the original as absolutely possible. And you felt as though, and you gave it.
It's more on the lines of when something is perfect. Resident Evil 4, when it came out, it won Game of the Year. It won a slew of awards. When you've got a game that's genuinely considered perfect by the vast majority of gamers, like almost nobody would disagree that at the time it came out, that was a perfect game. If you're going to remake something that has that level of a reputation, then you need to put your all into it. And they didn't. Like, there's a reason that my Resident Evil 4 review is one of the biggest videos I've ever released, is because they clearly have misstep after misstep. And there's if you're going to remake greatness, put everything into it. And Capcom didn't. If I was to ever remake The Empire Strikes Back, you better damn well bet that I'm going to try to make not an exact copy, but something to equal that level of greatness that will stand the same test of time as The Empire Strikes Back. They didn't do it. Resident Evil 4 was a quick cash grab. It was better than Resident Evil 3, absolutely, the Resident Evil 3 remake, but it still, at the end of the day, was a cash grab that doesn't equate to the perfection that was the original. So to all companies, don't remake things that are perfect if you're not going to go all in. No half measures.
Yeah, and Snafu says remake and reimagining is the same thing. You're just arguing semantics. That I completely disagree with. And the perfect example for this that brings in all three, remake, reimagining, and remaster, is Tomb Raider. Now, Tomb Raider is they just announced the remaster where they take the actual game itself and cleaned it up. Then you have the remake, which is Tomb Raider Anniversary. That is a remake of the original game. And then you have Tomb Raider, the reboot, which is the 2013 Tomb Raider game. That's a perfect example of clear cut, what is the difference between all three of these terms. And the problem is that people misuse these terms, companies misuse these terms. That is an issue, and that is actually a big issue I personally have. I wish that these words, these terms, would be used accordingly, so that we understand what we're getting when they announce things, instead of just being misleading or just misused entirely. That, I think, is a huge issue in modern day gaming, especially when we're surrounded by nothing but remakes, reimaginings, and remasters. So I wish that the industry and gamers would use all of these terms accordingly. And I mean, if there's to be honest, if you think there's little to no difference between Tomb Raider Anniversary and the Tomb Raider reboot game, I don't know, buddy. But
well, I mean, cause you said it perfectly. You said we needed to define terms. I mean, that's the problem. Like back to the woke stuff with Starfield. The reason we're in this problem where we're at, people don't. They just throw out these terms willy nilly. We need to have defined terms. So like, if people want to say a remake and a reimagining are the same, if they're the same, then we shouldn't need two words. We shouldn't see two different versions of marketing. So like, both the companies and the consumers all need to agree on what these words mean, how it's to be interpreted, because otherwise we're going to get Starfield-like situations where people are saying black people in a video game means woke, when that's not what fucking woke means to begin with. Like, knowing what these terms mean is a big deal. So you can't just throw them around haphazardly.
Yeah, I mean, if these terms like were used appropriately, then people would be less upset, less disappointed. They would have a better idea of what's going on. So, obviously, advocating or being in support of using terms appropriately is always a good thing. And so that, to me, I think that a lot of these companies do misuse these terms for whatever reason. Most of the time, it's purely for a marketing perspective to maximize profit. And I wish they would just be like using terms appropriately. But yes, I brings up a good point. If you guys are interested in Leon's thoughts and how his breakdown is of Resident Evil 4 Remake, I definitely suggest watching his review of Resident Evil 4 Remake. He played through the game multiple times, and he brings up particular instances.
3 or 4 times before I even made the video. Like, I think the 4th time was all my captured footage. So I beat it 3 times, like, before even a 4th for capturing it. And I do like the game. I said it was a cash grab, and I'm being inflammatory just because that's fucking fun to do. I like it, but the thing is, still like maybe a 6.5 out of 10 at best, when the original is a perfect 10. That's a problem. Like, I don't know. I just think that people saw this game. It came out in a very good gaming year, and it came out in a time when a bunch of other games for the last several years have come out bad, broken, politically motivated. I think people gave this game a lot more of a pass than it deserved because of how bad everything else has been. When a game comes out working, people celebrate it. That shouldn't be fucking celebrated. That's the default. If a game should, at minimum, come out in working condition. Unplayable day ones is something we've accepted when we as the gamer and as the consumer shouldn't have fucking accepted that. But we've rolled over and shown it's okay. Companies will patch it within a couple weeks and it'll be fine. No, a game coming out working day one isn't good enough. A game not having woke stuff isn't good enough. It should come out good. It should come out politics free. And just not having that stuff doesn't automatically make them good. There's still other quality issues games and really any product should have to get by. But we've gotten lazier as the consumers, and that is a problem.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's
hold on. So yeah, in terms of this game, I didn't play the original. Like I've been playing all of these remakes just for when they come out. 3, it was a short game. Like I was entertained by it, but I could tell that it was way too short, and a lot of people complained that it was short. In terms of what 4 was for this year, and me being the game, I've been gaming for over 30 years. This is nothing new to me. So I've seen how everything shifts and you acclimate accordingly. Whatever happens, what things upset you or, you don't care for, you can just vote with your wallet. I do agree with that. But in terms of seeing the game that I was presented, I enjoyed. Didn't play the original. I can play the original. I've had opportunities to do so because people say that it holds up to this day. But at the end of the day, when I get something, I go through every game with a blank slate and call it for what it is as I'm playing it and experiencing it in real time. So in regards to that game,
but you can't do that with a remake because part of and this is one of the things that people seem to have trouble grasping. A remake is not a blank slate. It inherently has the shadow and the baggage of the original property. That's why they are remaking it. It cannot stand alone on its own.
It is a blank slate to me because I don't know that original game. I don't have any ties to that original game.
You're just going in without the information. Those are different things. You say that the gamers have to acclimate. You've been gaming for 30 years and gamers have to acclimate.
No, I didn't say they have to acclimate. I said I did.
Be there.
I said I acclimated.
Stockholm syndrome, bro. Like, oh, I'm in love with my captors now. Like, no. These people are doing bad things. Rather than acclimating, fight against them.
No. You're not. You're mishearing. You're not hearing what I'm saying. I'm not saying what they're doing is right. I'm saying I see what they're doing, and I'm going to do what makes sense for me, not for them. That's what I'm saying.
And that's totally fine. Like what makes sense for you? Like I'm not trashing anyone that enjoyed the game. Like if they enjoyed the game, I'm glad. I wanted people to love this game. So if people got more enjoyment out of it than me, I'm genuinely all for that. I'm glad that other people got what I didn't, because that means at least maybe they got from this what I got in 2005. And it may have taken them 15 years or almost 20 years, but if they got that feeling, dude, that is awesome. That being said, I also do just have the issue with game companies and more than anything else, consumers accepting the shitty state of what most major companies do, most AAA gamers do, and just like, oh, well, it's unfinished, but here's XYZ excuse. So it'll be good when it's patched. It'll be good when the mods fix it. Why gamers have settled for that mentality is fucking beyond me, and it needs to be rectified. And these companies aren't going to fix it because they've already gotten used to us getting used to it. Like, yeah, gamers are still going to buy this day one, even if it's broken. Where's the incentive to do things better? I can't even be mad at the corporations in that respect because, yeah, the corporations have gotten used to us just rolling over. We need to change first.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yeah, like I do agree. And it's one of those things where when I look at Resident Evil 4 as someone that's not played the original, but like I've seen particular comparisons to the original. It's like one of those things where Resident Evil 4 Remake is a good game on its own.
Yeah,
but then when you do compare it, to the original, there is definitely differences. Like you can definitely list differences. Like people have done actual comparisons of things that have been like tweaked, dialogue that's been changed, dialogue that isn't there at all, or like scenes that aren't there at all, parts of the game that are not there and being sold as DLC, some parts that aren't even there at all. Like you can't, like there's two different ways to see it. I think that Resident Evil 4 Remake is a good game, but there's definitely things that's missing from it that the original had. So
it is a good game. It's just anytime a game is or any product, not just a game, anytime something is remade, it inherently is not a blank slate. You can treat it as such, but that means you're going in with limited information. You don't have the basis for a comparison.
Well, you don't have anything to compare it to.
Right, like a remake can only exist if there is something that it is remaking, which means it inherently is tied to that other thing. Now, if you've never experienced that other thing, that's fine, but that's not a blank slate. That's just you lacking information. Those are different.
No, it's still a blank slate. Because I treat every game the same way. Like when I play a game, I don't have a bias for the previous game I played. So if I play Demon Souls Remake, which I clearly see they added different animations and different bosses into the game, which then is now, this is a completely different game to a degree. But I can still see that it's still Demon Souls and still take it for what was presented to me. That's what
makes it not a blank slate, though, because you say, I can see it's done X, Y, Z differently. If you can see it's been done differently, then it's not a blank slate because you have previous reference. If it was a blank slate, you wouldn't be able to see the stuff.
But that's for a game that I previously played, and I can compare it, but I'm still judging the game for what it's doing in today and not for what I played years ago.
Judging it for what it is different than it being a blank slate. Those are a blank slate means you've got nothing to go off of whatsoever. However, Resident Evil 4 is one of the most famous games of all time. Even if you've never played it, you know something about it. 99% of people know something about Resident Evil 4. It's one of the, again, most famous games ever made. So it's impossible to go in, I would say, for the majority of people with a blank slate.
I will gladly say that I'm an exception because I didn't pay attention to Resident Evil at all.
Fair enough, but I
didn't pay attention to Resident Evil throughout the years. So every game that was coming out, I was ignoring all of it because I didn't care at the time.
And that's fair. I would, if that's the case, then by all means, you are definitely the exception. And then yeah, maybe Resident Evil 4 was a blank slate for you. I'll concede to that. But for 95% of people, Resident Evil 4 Remake wasn't a blank slate. It has to be popular to get a remake in the first place. But most of the time, so that's because it was a highly anticipated game.
No, I've heard that it's one of the most popular Resident Evil games, but me being who I am and ignoring certain games growing up, I just didn't care about horror games as a kid, so it wasn't something that I cared to play.
You don't want to hear why I never played Resident Evil 4. You guys don't. I mean, like, if you're a fan of Resident Evil,
that's a little bit different. I just
no, it's not even just that. I can't take it seriously. I looked at that game multiple times and I can never take it seriously because it looked like a game that you go to an arcade, you pick up one of those fucking guns, and then it has the
a rail
little thing
shooter?
on the screen. Yeah, like I
Like
could
House of the
never take
Dead.
it serious.
Yeah.
I could never take it seriously because it looked like an arcade on rail shooter, and I was just like, I always thought as a kid, like, I don't play video games at my house to play something that looks like an arcade game.
Yeah, I mean, no, and that's, I mean, I can see that. That's fair, especially, you know, the Wii. I think the Wii version is the best version of the original game, and it's the one that does use the motion controls and the reticle. Like, it's super cool. It's just like, I don't know. We're in this weird space where if something is being remade, movie, book, game, whatever, it's because it was popular enough to warrant a remake. It had enough fans. And when we're talking about Resident Evil, if it was the very first video game franchise to be adapted into a film franchise. Like, yes, Mario came first in terms of, you know, Mario had some movie, but the first video game series to have sequels, like movies and sequels, adaptations, was Resident Evil. It's one of the most famous franchises in video gaming history, period. Like, there's a reason that it's getting new games. They're remaking all their old games. Like, the original Resident Evil came out in 96. It got its first remake in 2003. That's not even 10 years later. And then they've been getting remade ever since then. So this is one of those things where the majority of people, even if you've never played the games, they're aware of them. They know what they are, which means they're going to go in with some sort of preconceived notion. Whereas something like what was announced at the PlayStation event today, Baby Steps, that first thing. There's nothing to back that up. That's a completely brand new thing. No one really has any preconceived notions because it's not a remake or a reimagining of anything we've ever seen before. That would be a blank slate. But Resident Evil's been part of the gaming zeitgeist since 96. People have at least an idea of what it is. Wrong idea or not, they have an idea. And that those preconceived notions are going to affect the way you relate to any games.
And Final Fantasy VII is indeed a reimagining. That's why they definitely misused the term with Final Fantasy VII Remake when it's really technically not that. It is a reimagining. I wish they would have been more open about that, but I think they know, like with Final Fantasy VII Remake specifically, if they would have called it Final Fantasy VII Reimagining, people would have off the bat lost their fucking shit. They would immediately been like, you guys are going to change shit to the game, but instead they called it a remake, and they give you the notion that it is like the previous, it is a remake of the original, and then they started going off off the beaten path and present to you like options. And the way they did that, I think, is smart, but it is like basically taking the consumer they're actually
misrepresenting your product, but they did. It made them more money, but they flat out misrepresented their product.
But I think that the shame is though, and I've only played like parts of Final Fantasy VII, like the first part. I essentially played like before Final Fantasy VII Remake came out. I played Final Fantasy VII to like the point where you leave the fucking city, so like I only have that to compare it to, but like. What they did, the shame is that I think it's actually cool and interesting, and like people that have played the original game, like they don't know what's going to happen, but they're interested to see where it goes. And if they would have called it what it was, despite it being interesting in its own right, it would have been shat on from the very beginning. When it's kind of sad, because I think the way they're going about it is kind of cool. I mean, there's definitely going to be absolutists that are like, they don't like Final Fantasy VII Remake because it's not a remake. They change things, blah, blah. And I understand that sentiment because it's like you expected it to be a representation of what you played as closely as possible as a kid. And I get that. But I do think the way they went about this is also kind of interesting. It kind of does flip it on its head and kind of add layers to it. Now, whether it ends up being good by the end, I don't really know. But I mean, I'm into it. Like, I have so many friends, like I'm Man Rich the Swag Lord, my boy Blake, Saya Strike, that have played the original game. Like, they're super fans of the original fucking game, and they're super hyped for Rebirth, and they liked Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like, a lot of people that I know played Final Fantasy VII Remake actually like that a lot more than Final Fantasy 16. And even despite it changing things from the original Final Fantasy VII. So I think it's interesting. And while, like, I acknowledge that Square Enix technically lied about calling it a remake, it is a reimagining. I think the way that they did it is cool. And it's kind of a shame that people wouldn't have accepted it if they would have called it what it was from the get-go. So,
yeah, no,
I mean,
people are not open to new things, and especially when it's stuff that they have a lot of love, childhood nostalgia for, whatnot. Like, Final Fantasy VII. While I think it's overrated nowadays, I love that game as a kid. Who didn't? And when the remake came out, I liked it. I liked it a lot as a game.
You just want to get murdered tonight. Like, that is just what.
I think both
you
8,
just
8 and
want
9 are better
to
than
die.
7. But no, it's anyway. Final Fantasy VII, the remake. I'm annoyed at the title. The game itself is a good game, but that title is so it's not what it is. Final Fantasy VII is an alternate universe story. Like, the universe is broken apart. There's a timeline change. Like, that's not the same thing. That would be like calling Spider-Man Far From Home or whatever, the Spider-Man Homecoming, a remake of the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. No, it's not a remake of it. It takes place in a completely different timeline, a completely different canon. It's not a remake of the 2002 Sam Raimi movie. So that's them using the word remake disingenuously. That said, the game itself is a good game. I hate the title. And I think there's a lot of Final Fantasy fans that I think most probably hold that sentiment, that the game is awesome, but wish it wasn't being touted as a remake when it's an alternate universe story.
Yeah. Well, Psycho is basically saying nostalgia's your bag. Stick to being a retro gamer. I mean, like, it's one of those things where I pose the idea of maybe becoming a retro gamer myself at some point, because as time goes on, like, the industry doesn't want to cater to what I want anymore. There's some games that do that, particularly a lot of smaller scale titles, but we are entering a space in which, if you're a millennial or older, you're basically being tossed aside for Gen Z and soon to be Gen Alpha as well, if not already. Like, that's just what it is. And it is disappointing, and I see where it's going. And at some point, I do myself consider maybe in the future, within the next 10 or so years, of becoming a retro gamer myself, if they don't make anything that appeals to me anymore. But I hope that isn't the case, because I would ideally like for an industry to try and cater to, everyone with different sorts of games for different demographics of people.
Well, Doom 2016 isn't called Doom Remake. Doom 2016 is a fucking awesome game. I love Doom 2016. I also love the original Doom, but it's not called Doom Remake for a reason, because it's not a remake, That's where we're at. But that being said, it's so very close and similar to what, the origins of what Doom was. It still warrants having the same title. That's fine. That's totally fine by me. If they'd done something like that with Resident Evil 4 or with Final Fantasy 7, I think that would have been great. Call it Resident Evil 4 2023. Call it Final Fantasy 7, 2021. That one came out 2020. Or call it Final Fantasy Reimagined, like you said. But Doom did it right. They didn't call it a remake because it's not a remake.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't expect this to become a Resident Evil 4 remake debate, but it was entertaining. But like,
that state of play pissed me off. I'm sorry.
Like, I mean, for me personally, I actually enjoyed it more than I thought it would. Like, I have such low expectations for anything. Just for the sake of my own sanity, I want to be excited, so I don't really expect much. I will say the one thing I did expect, and was foolish of me, I guess, to expect it, was to expect Stellar Blade to be there. That is a game made by a South Korean company that is like a hack and slash game that's sort of in the vein of like DMC. So I like hack and slash games. That's one I'm really looking forward to. That I think it's second party, if I'm not mistaken, technically speaking. So that wasn't there. So I was hoping for that. Didn't get it. Slightly disappointed, but I will say, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth looks way better than fucking Final Fantasy 16 or the first Final Fantasy VII reboot. Like, I think that looks so much more interesting. How do you think
it's going to actually run? Because Final Fantasy 7 or 16, like you've been complaining about how it runs. How are they going to expect Rebirth to run? Like, there's no way it's going to come out looking as good as it did in the State of Play today. Like,
I thought it looked
awesome, but
because to be fair, like, I played Final Fantasy VII, remake when it came out and I played it on PS4 Pro. That game, I mean, ran at 30 FPS, but visually it looked far superior than Final Fantasy 16 looks running on a PS5. So right. I think that at least the team that's working on Rebirth, they know how to make a good looking game. Like, whatever, I don't know if they're using a different engine. I don't know what they're doing, but clearly this is off the bones of Final Fantasy VII, the reboot game. So like it is the same bones. I'm just, hopefully it runs at 60.
Yeah, I don't have the faith it'll look that good on an actual home console. Like I know it looks good.
It's gonna look good. But it's going to look good. Just what the frame rate is gonna be.
That's what I mean. Like, look consistent. Maybe I should say look consistent, not look good. Like, I don't think it's gonna look consistent. I think that was some Hollywood trickery we saw at the State of Play. There's no way that game's gonna come out running like that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's up in the air. I think, they managed to make Final Fantasy VII, the reboot game, the first part 1, I guess you could say. They managed to make that look absolutely gorgeous on Pro, running at 30. Then they brought it over to PS5 and have a PS5 version that looks gorgeous and runs at 60 FPS. So I think that they could pull it off. Whatever fucking magic they got behind the curtain, if it be the Wizard of Oz or whatnot, I think that they're gonna pull it off. So like, I don't have problems with them on that front because they've proven themselves. So I don't think they need to make Final Fantasy VII Rebirth necessarily look visually more spectacular than the part 1. Because like, the game looks absolutely stellar. A PS4 Pro game looked objectively better than Final Fantasy 16, a PS5 game, by a lot. It's not even close. So on that front, I really do think they're going to be able to pull it off. They don't need to make the game look visually more pristine. They just need to make sure, like, please run at 60. It's like, at that point, I don't think that they need to go up there.
That open world looked massive in the State of Play.
That's
I could not tell. I could not bring myself to believe that it's going to run consistently. When I was like looking at the game, it was one. I don't want to get my hopes up because I don't believe it's going to run as well as it did in the State of Play. But I hope I'm wrong. Don't get me wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
I think that they're going to have there's going to be some parts that are going to look kind of, downscaled. Like Slycrow says, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has some rough ground textures in the trailer. I think that there's going to be some things that are going to look like kind of gross, while the details are going to be pushed towards the things that matter the most. Like the most infamous thing about the Final Fantasy VII reboot game was that Cloud's door had no texture on it.
Well, that was a running thing in Midgar. You would run around certain parts of Midgar and it would still have like PS3 looking textures. And they would jump out at you because most of the time the game looked great, but then you'd see like some rusty metal on the side of a building and it would look like it was straight out of 2007. Like, okay, hold on. Did my game not render properly? What the fuck happened here? But it was happening to everyone.
Jim just thinks that you jumped off a cliff. Yo, what's good with you, Christian? Good to see you, homie. But I think that Rebirth is gonna be damn good. I do think that at least I like Final Fantasy VII, part 1. So I'm excited for Rebirth because it does look better. It looks better in every conceivable way, in my personal opinion. So it looks exciting. Like it
looks like they're making Sephiroth a sympathetic villain, which I think that's a weird change. That wasn't this trailer. That was the previous trailer they released. But yeah, Sephiroth came off looking sympathetic, and I don't know if the trailer was just framing it odd or if they're actually changing Sephiroth's backstory. And if they are, a lot of folk gonna be upsetty spaghetti about that. Just saying.
Well, I think at this point most gamers have been, if you call it fooled or they've accepted, but like they've kind of just accepted that they know that this is going to be somewhat different. So that's just kind of what it is. The way that they kind of got people to sort of accept it, I thought was like
Different
kinda
is fine as long as it's not for difference's sake. Like, don't be different to be different. If you're gonna be different, do something good with it. Which if they're able to make Sephiroth a sympathetic villain in a way that's interesting, by all means, go for it. But maybe I'm just too black pilled on modern day storytelling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to jump to conclusions, and like honestly, my knowledge of Sephiroth is not the best, obviously, but I do like his design. I think that he's a fucking badass, especially after playing through the first game. So I mean, I'm interested to see where they go with it. And the cool thing is, I see like longtime remake fans that know that this is different. Like they're excited to see where it's going. So like it's cool from that perspective. Like I think that I can't wait to play it. Honestly, like I just want to see it. I want to see the debates. I want to see the dissection. I want to see like people compare and contrast. Like it is it is going to be an interesting conversation piece within the very least in the gaming community once it does come out, and I look forward to that. So like on that front, I think that what they showed was really cool, and a lot better than
I say bloodbath. Square Enix fans are some of the like most righteous indignation fueled individuals in the gaming space. Like you can't talk to Square Enix fanboys, and I love it.
Well, either way, I definitely want to see the bloodbath if that occurs. Just as long as it's passionate and people actually, care and aren't doing it just for the sake of generating their own personal revenue. But in the very least, it looks far better than the fucking bullshit that was Baby Steps, okay? But another impressive game that I wasn't expecting DLC for Tales of Arise. That's actually a really good game if you're into like Japanese RPG
Oh,
games.
is that DLC? I thought it was a sequel. Like I thought it was a direct sequel to Tales of Arise.
No, it seems to be DLC. I don't know if it's standalone or not, but
Gotcha.
it is DLC. So that's cool. That's really interesting to me. I'm interested to see where they go with that. Another big one that TJ was kind of not too. I don't want to say you were disappointed, but you were looking at Helldivers 2, and you were kind of like, huh. I don't know if you're still there, TJ, but
Yeah, I'm still here.
yeah, what are your thoughts on Helldivers 2? Because I know like you were kind of like interested in the game, and then you were watching it, and you kind of had like mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, the interesting thing about the game is that, it's so if I just take it for what it is, because it is a sequel. In regards to what was shown, like initially when it was first revealed, I was like, okay, this looks cool, but like with this gameplay reveal that we've been given, or more breakdown of just how the game is going to play when you're interacting with your co-op team. The movement in the game didn't look very good. I didn't like the animations. I didn't like the sounds of the guns in the game. I didn't think it looked very interesting to me. I mean, I see that there's obviously some aspects where somebody dies, you can throw something down and bring them back and revive them, or bring them to assist again. But overall, I just was not impressed. Yeah, thank you. Like it did look janky. I just didn't think that the animations were very clean. I didn't think that the gun, the sounds of the guns didn't really do anything for me. I thought whenever you have these reveals and you have people that sound like they're the development team playing the game with each other to try to sound like they're a team of people playing, it always comes across as corny to me. So
yeah,
when they did that, I was that was like icing on the cake to already like it was just a bad cake. So overall, like I don't have any interest in this game anymore. If I get it, it'll be discounted. They don't have a pricing for it. If it wasn't a full price game, if they released it and it was like $40, I would consider it. But if it's something that they might release that's at 70, absolutely not. I'm not buying that game at all. And I mean,
This game,
I'm all for supporting dev teams that, take different leaps in terms of, because this is a completely different like style of game versus the first one, which is
yeah.
fine. And I like when developers are creative with their own properties and they try to bring something refreshing to it. The problem is it doesn't look good. It's not refreshing at all. It's stale. That's exactly what it is to me. So I'm not impressed with the game at all. So I will not be
See,
getting that day one.
for me, I'm not hyped to get it day one, but I'm also wasn't really hyped to get it day one beforehand. I was like, this looks like a fun game to run whenever I get the chance to. But was I gonna buy it day one? Admittedly, no. But I'm not really disappointed with it. It does look like this is coming from a developer that is AA that kind of bit off a little more than they can chew. But I don't think that I can't have fun with the game, but you guys are right. It does seem to have a little bit of jank with it. The way they presented it with people that are pretending to be gamers doesn't help either.
Right.
If they want to be authentic, they need to start cursing and telling someone to go fuck themselves. Like that just
Yeah, just
that's
be
how
You're
it
honest.
is.
banned
Like,
for doing that
Just,
now,
just get into
yeah,
an argument with your teammate for not doing the thing that they were supposed to do at a particular
yeah,
time.
like
Then it would
if you
be
watch the
normal.
gameplay, there was like a team kill. Like there was a like they saw somebody kill another one of their teammates, and they were just like, "Oh, I'm dead." Like, no, if one of us gets killed, if Lemonade kills one of us, he's getting cursed out
Oh,
for 5 minutes for doing it. So
yeah.
yeah, I don't like when developers do that. Like, be realistic with what's happening in the game in real time.
Just don't do that because
We're
we
back
we
on the
know they're
same
not going to
page though.
curse.
Oh, sorry, go on, Cass.
I was gonna say, just don't do the voicing for players in the game because it just never comes out accurately, and I don't expect you to curse because you're trying to be like kid friendly and whatnot. But what were you gonna say, Leon?
I was gonna say, yeah. Despite TJ and I's back and forth earlier, we're back on the same page now. This because when I watched this trailer, I thought it looked. At the time I said generic, janky may be a better word, but like it just. I was interested in this when when the first trailer dropped, the first Helldiver 2 trailer. But then I saw this gameplay footage today, and I was like, all of a sudden my interest level dropped way low. Because like, oh, this doesn't seem anything like it's anything special, like anything we haven't seen 1,000 times before. Like I couldn't find the hook in this game whatsoever. What makes this game stand out? And I don't know. I was pretty underwhelmed, but maybe janky is a better word than generic.
Yeah. I mean, look, we have to temper our expectations because this is a AA developer. I mean, they've made. Let me see. This is Arrowhead Studios. They've made the first Helldivers and the other games. I know of Magica. That's a AA game, and from what I remember off the bat, I've never actually played it, but like they've made a lot of AA games, so expectations do need to be reasonable. But yeah, there's definitely some things that they need to fix about this game, and the way that they present it. Don't fuck up, okay? Like, don't lie, but also don't fuck up with the way they present your game to gamers because that doesn't actually help either. But and Livewire brings up Warhammer Space Marine 2. Like that game looks so much better in comparison. And people are going to make that comparison because it is third person like shooter sort of game. Like what and clearly when you compare like Space Marine 2, it looks AAA, whereas Helldivers 2 looks very AA in nature. So I don't blame you for making that sort of like bringing that up here because I think that Space Marine 2 is gonna make me have to go play the first one just so I could play that one because it does look really fucking sick. But
And it's unfortunate that it looks like a AA game because Sony is publishing the game. So clearly they didn't want to give them a lot of money for them to clean this up. Hopefully there's enough feedback from, whether it's the testers or from what they see in the comments on the videos that they could clean some things up. But considering it's coming out in February, I don't know if that's enough time for them to fix the animations in the game. I don't think what we get is what we saw is exactly what we're going to get on release day. So, I mean, at the end of the day, They could be AA, and that's fine. I play plenty of indie games, and they come with some, some games might not be that great, and there's some games where you get an indie game and it looks like a AAA game sometimes because they put that much into it. So I can't necessarily say that's a good excuse, but if they were given a limited budget with Sony, that might play a role in it. So who knows?
Yeah, and Sony isn't like, it's not like they haven't published a jank as fuck game before, like with the second, a developer that isn't one of their studios. But I pointed, like, because I remember watching shout out to Gaz from Game On Daily. He had David Jaffe on, and David Jaffe was talking, the discussion was Starfield, and David Jaffe was saying, well, if Sony was behind Starfield, then all the NPCs will look so much better. It would have been so much more polished. And I'm like, look at Predator's Hunting Grounds. That was a published Sony game that they were behind, and it was a jank pile of dog shit, which is a shame because I was looking forward to it. All I had to do was play the beta to say, oh no, oh the fuck no, and I was out. Like, shout out to Gatling Hunter and Side Strike that got caught. Got caught looking with that one. What were you saying, Leon?
Well, how much do you want to bet that the Starfield NPCs? I honestly believe they look like that intentionally. I really do. I think that's part of Bethesda's aesthetic. Like, at this point, there's been jokes and memes on the internet about the way Bethesda NPCs and whatnot look, that I think they're just leaning into it. We know Todd Howard has a sense of humor. I think they could have made these look better, but intentionally chose to look like this because, it's Bethesda. Like, I know it's conspiratorial on my end, but I'm willing to bet this was an intentional choice.
It's one of those things where it depends on which NPCs you're talking about, because there's NPCs that are just there. You can't even have real conversations. You'll just click on them to like start a conversation. They'll just give you like a random couple of words and then keep it moving. Like, those are the ones that look absolutely fucking horrendous. Like, they are just ugly and fat, a lot of them, so fuck them for that. And then you have like NPCs that you do have dialogue with that are given more detail, and yes, by modern standards their detail is severely lacking. But to say, like, for David Jaffe to say, oh well, if this was a Sony game it would have looked so much more pristine, the NPCs would have looked far superior than they do now, and it's like, bitch, they have fucking published Predator's Hunting Grounds, and they are going to publish Helldivers 2. And hopefully they get this feedback and listen and be like, okay, this needs to be delayed because this needs to look more, this needs more polish, because people hold us to this level of expectation given the types of games that PlayStation tends to release. Like, they tend to release some very visually impressive games, but that's more so under their first party. Second party tends to be kind of funny, and they're not. This is like Helldivers 2, like to be like sort of like, oh, this is surprising coming from PlayStation. It's not, because this has happened before. So hopefully it's a better game than Predator's Hunting Grounds, because that game was dog shit. But yeah, I think we have to temper our expectations and be cautious with it. It's sad. I hope that they do what they need to do for it to be a better game. But it sucks that people are less hyped for Helldivers 2 given the state of play today. But I guess we should move to the main crux of the state of play, which caught us off guard because we thought it was going to be indie, third party, and VR. But Spider-Man 2, they've showed us a lot more stuff. And I, honestly speaking, I was kind of like, whatever with Spider-Man 2. Like, they haven't managed to get me hyped. But seeing this direct, seeing this state of play, I'm actually more excited for the game. It looks more like uppity. I like some of the different sorts of outfits for the characters. You could definitely do a lot more than what I was expecting. Yeah, like that was impressive.
For you harken back to like old school, like 90s and early 2000s video games where cosmetics in game were a big deal. Before they were DLC, they were all unlockable and stuff. Like, that's the most jazzed I've been about Spider-Man in a while, was this trailer, purely because of the costume stuff. It just reminded me of a simpler time in gaming.
So Leon, like, I know that you've had like you're into Spider-Man, and you've kind of been like up and down with what they've shown with Marvel Spider-Man 2 so far. So how does this they technically had 2 trailers. How do you perceive, this game after having seen them?
So I'm still like gameplay wise, it still is doing almost nothing for me. But there was a couple things that these trailers did do that finally did get something out of me. They showed this like circus fair. I don't know if it's supposed to be Coney Island or if it's just like a festival going
Coney
on.
Island.
Is that Coney Island? That was super cool. It's like, holy shit, this is good. This is super fun. Like
that's the first place I'm going to.
Like,
yeah.
Say it again. That's the first place.
That's the first place I'm going to because that's pretty sick. Like they've
so fun.
Yeah, that's a big landmark in New York. So the fact that they've managed to make that look pretty fucking awesome. I'm excited to explore New York, being a New Yorker myself for 24 years of my life. So that is really exciting, and I like that they added the whole glider thing because I spoke about how Queens is in comparison to Manhattan. Two totally different areas. A lot of there are some big buildings, but there's not nearly as many as Manhattan. So the fact that they have the gliding ability, I think that was a genius inclusion in the game. Visually, the game looks fucking impressive. Like I'm super impressed with how everything looks. I do like the different moves that I'm seeing from the characters. Whether I'm going to be impressed by the gameplay, I think there's going to be some things that impress me about the gameplay, particularly a lot of the moves that the characters are capable of. So I'm pretty excited about that. Whether it has like an immense amount of depth, I'm still not quite sure of yet. But I'm not personally expecting it to be like Devil May Cry. TJ, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, give us your thoughts on Spider-Man 2.
So, in terms of obviously they've been doing a lot. They showed a lot in terms of what boroughs you can explore, which I do enjoy because we were limited to a certain area in the previous games. So the fact that they expanded that, I do appreciate. And now I don't see the Bronx in there. I got an issue with that, but we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about that another time.
Spider-Man 3, baby.
So yeah, they didn't have the Bronx in there. I don't like that. But what I will say is, after they showed like the map and how the areas that you can explore, go to the schools, things like that, they showed the digital deluxe suits that you get. That I think it was called the Stone Monkey suit, where like he has I don't know, like there was just a bunch of different things that they have shown in terms of the different outfits that you could wear. But obviously that's digital deluxe, so you have to pay to get those. But they do have some that obviously you can earn, just from playing the game. Overall, I mean, it didn't change anything that I, thought in terms of what I'll be doing on October 20th, because I'll still be there day one. But overall, I mean, it's cool. Like I don't have any good or bad to say about it. I just like that they're being transparent. And clearly Insomniac are one of the best teams that Sony has. They bought them for a reason, because they're consistent in what they do. Some people say this game looks exactly the same as the previous games. Okay, that's fine.
I'm a little more excited though. I think the game itself looks more exciting than the previous 2 Spider-Man games.
But the thing about, and I always have this
previous
issue,
1.5.
Yeah, like I always have this thing about what people have issues with. They say, "Oh, this game looks the same." Do you know what a sequel is? Sequels take what the first game did and you expand on it and you add things to it to make it different. Yes, you have, like, if you take Arkham Asylum. Arkham Asylum is close to a perfect game. And you take that and you expand it and you do Arkham City. So yes, we increase the map, we keep the combat, we add some gadgets, we give you some extra things, and we give you more enemies to deal with. It's still the same combat. It's still the same actions. It's still the same people that are in this game, in this universe. So at the end of the day, if you're playing a sequel, expect the game to look like the last one. There's very few and far in between where games where you have a game that starts off one way and then the sequel is something completely different from what the first game was.
I agree with you for the most part, and I'm suffering from that myself. I think this game looks far too similar to the first, and the reason I think people are having an issue with this, and again, I'm hoping to be wrong about this, mind you, because I do want to really love this game and be excited for it. That said, the first one, as fun as it was, did have a very repetitive gameplay loop. Like after several hours of playing, you were playing for the story, not the gameplay loop. So this game looks to be more of that. If you're going to we want the story obviously to be awesome because this is a story-driven game, but a repetitive gameplay loop in a game this extravagant, this big of a deal, just to be more of the same as what we got like 5+ years ago, I can see why people be weary of that. Now we have gotten a bigger map. We've gotten the flight, the flight parts of the suit. Those are good additions, but I am hoping to see more in terms of the gameplay, an expansion in terms of the combat and stuff, because I don't want this game to feel like a slog. Spider-Man for Insomniac, Spider-Man 2017, about the 70% mark for me did start feeling like a slog. Thank God the story was so much fun. I don't want to see that with this game as well. And especially when you had Miles Morales on top of it, which was, once again, more of the same. Now we've got what was technically the third one, even though it's called Spider-Man 2. It could just be a very repetitive, tiring formula at this point. So I think wanting more, while I agree with you that sequels usually just do the same thing but better but add more, there still needs to be like a level to how much more you add to justify even making the sequel.
I think if they were to break it up, so similar to like I stated with Arkham City, if they give you a portion of the game where you play as Venom, that'll break up the monotony of the loop that we're playing in the game, similar to where you get the opportunity to play as Catwoman in Arkham City,
right?
Because she plays very differently than Batman. So if they do that, where they break it up in regards to where you're playing as someone that's not Spider-Man, in terms of whether it's Miles or Peter, where you get Venom, just don't let us play as MJ again, please. Thank you. I don't want to do that
agree.
again.
That would be a good way to break up the gameplay loop. Add Venom in there. I also like Livewire's idea. Free Topher Grace Venom skin with pre-order. I would pre-order the shit out of it just for that. I think that'd be funny as hell. But yeah, no, anything to break up the gameplay loop. I didn't mind the Mary Jane stuff, but I love stealth games. So like, I also get why people hated it. If they were to swap out all the Mary Jane stuff and instead do like combat-oriented Venom stuff, yeah, that's a just significant enough change to justify the game having, being a sequel and whatnot. But that said, that's purely speculation at this point. So I don't want to like hedge my bets on that when we don't even know if Venom will be playable at all.
All right.
Yeah, for me at this point, I'm starting to care less about stories because I feel like, and I don't think Spider-Man is guilty of this, but generally speaking, with a lot of PlayStation's exclusives over the past like 10 years, that they've been so like story driven that they do forsaken the gameplay. And like, to me, a game that you get a grasp of what the gameplay loop is within the first 3 hours of the game, and that's what it is for the entire game. Like, I get fucking bored of that. Like, I get so insanely bored. Like, they have to, they definitely need to expand on the gameplay loop. If they add Venom in there, that's the thing that would like seal me being hyped. Like, do we get to play as Venom? Like, that's what I want to know. That
Or if
to
not
me would
play
be
as Venom, something else that is more than what we've already seen in the last two games. I mean, Venom being the best of all the options, but like, even if that's not a thing, I would like to see more.
Yes, and I agree on that. Like, the gameplay loop has to be like a little more intricate. But I do like what I'm seeing. Like, I do like seeing that there's a lot of different things going on here. They're expanding, making the map bigger. And for me, I care less about the story than ever before because I don't really connect with the main characters at all. I think that they all look fucking weird. I don't really like how some of them are acting. Like, you know, Harry just is kind of like weird to me. I don't really like the way he's being pitched into the game. So overall, I have less care about the story than I did with Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales. I just
big
thought
of a gap between Spider-Man 1 and this one. I feel like there was so much hype for the sequel once Spider-Man 1 came out, but that came out in 2017, so it's been 6 years. Do you think that there'd be more hype if there was only a 3 or 4 year difference as opposed to 6?
I think that I don't know. I don't know because either way, it's like I feel like either way, if you judge that, you're just likely just wrong, or you'll be perceived as wrong. Because I think just throwing in like Miles Morales as glorified DLC kind of just feels like beating a dead horse sort of deal. But that's just me, and a lot of people are gonna like be upset that I say that because like, well, he has the better gameplay, and I agree with that. But it does feel like in the grand scheme of things, like sort of more of the same with a story that I couldn't give two fucks about personally. Like it was cool that they made Puerto Rican references in the game as a half Puerto
Absolutely.
Rican myself, but at
Absolutely.
the end of the day, that only goes so far for me. So that's just how I feel personally. So adding like a game that at least for me, I don't really I've just felt like wasn't necessary. Um, and it kind of just feels like filler. Like that could have just been DLC to me. That eh. Yeah, but I know a lot of people like Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I understand why. I think that is better gameplay. And that's an objective like fact. But
It
the
definitely
other
is.
things,
I think
yeah.
with between because they have you play as Peter and Miles, and I think I stated this on a previous podcast before. They're going to definitely change up the way you approach combat between the two, and I think with Miles, obviously him being a kid, it's going to take a lot for him to defeat some of these people. Obviously, Peter is more seasoned and he has, he's bigger, but I think that the aspects and they did show like an expansion on Miles' electrical powers as well as how he stealths and he maneuvers through different levels with his invisibility. So I think I have some degree of faith in Insomniac that they'll get it right because they really don't miss in terms of their games. So we'll see if and then Wolverine's next. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
more
pretty
excited for Wolverine than Spider-Man, despite the fact that I'm a massive Spider-Man fan. I'm not really a big Wolverine fan at all in terms of actual comics, but I'm that's the problem that I feel like that I'm running into is that after Spider-Man and then after Miles Morales, now on to Spider-Man 2, I do want something different. I wish Wolverine would have come out first, giving us a break from Spider-Man, and then we got Spider-Man 2.
But see, you're just saying like maybe it's because like maybe Spider-Man 2 waited so long to come out. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I'm
honestly
saying
do
like
feel the other way around. Like I do feel like I understand where you're coming from because I do feel the same way with Wolverine. I wish that they would have did Wolverine first and given us that different style
right.
entirely that's going to be different in pretty much every conceivable way besides the fact you're playing as somebody that is a lot of times a superhero, but at times as well can be an anti-hero. I don't really know
Yeah.
what Wolverine we're getting here. So on that front, it's one.
I think Marvel
That
is to blame for this. Obviously, Marvel have say in this game because they came to Sony and said, "We need you to make a Spider-Man game," and they're trying to line these games up with the movies. So when you put out a Miles Morales DLC, it's because obviously, the Spider-Verse movies are taking off and doing what they're doing. So Marvel is definitely playing a role in this, and obviously they're doing horribly in terms of the content that they've been putting out for the past couple of years. So I think that plays a part in why we're getting this game and it being somewhat exhausting to some people because of they're trying to line things up for the universes that they have and for the MCU specifically. So, Insomniac, they have an expansive, resume in terms of whether it's Ratchet and Clank or Resistance. They make different types of games and they show them that they have Sunset Overdrive as well. So they have the ability
Pyro.
to make whatever they want. It's just I think with this particular series of games, Marvel's pushing the issue, make these and get this out so that we can make the most out of it.
I think the Miles Morales game in and of itself is part of the problem because we've all been saying, "Oh, it's glorified DLC." I mean, yeah, that's what it is. If that had been a DLC and not its own solid game, I don't think we'd all feel so bored with this formula. But it is its own game, and even
like we haven't been
you
in
say
a.
it. Oh, go on. Sorry.
We just haven't been in a situation where we miss Spider-Man right now. Like
Right.
I think
Yeah.
people are looking forward to Spider-Man 2, but did we miss Spider-Man? Not really, because we just got like Spider-Man, like, you know, a couple of years back. So there's no opportunity to have missed Spider-Man because we don't have that Wolverine game in between it all. And then, like, you know, in a year or two, like, be like, man, that Wolverine game was cool, but man, what's up with that Spider-Man again? Like, you know,
Yeah.
we haven't had that opportunity.
We're in this weird limbo period where, like, the first Spider-Man game ended on a cliffhanger with you know, seeing Harry in the tank and whatnot. So you're like, oh, I want to know what happens next immediately, but you have to wait. And then enough time passes, you kind of forget about it. It's not been long enough to miss him, but it's been too long since we were so invigorated by that cliffhanger ending. So we're in this weird limbo period.
Yep, and Christian is absolutely right here. Ultimate Spider-Man is the reason why Venom is fun to play. That is facts. That was
Agreed.
cool. Ultimate Spider-Man was such a short game, but it like offered, like, it knew when to fucking stop. To where I wish it was kind of longer thinking back on it, but I never got bored of it. And it's crazy because I was so. The funny thing about Ultimate Spider-Man is that I didn't think I was gonna like it very much because to me, like, Spider-Man 2's web swinging was elite. And then immediately when I started swinging around with Ultimate Spider-Man, I was immediately disappointed, but I was like, let me keep playing. And then, like, you do all this other shit and shit goes down the way that it does. And I'm like, okay, this is dope in its own right. I mean, the swinging ain't up there with Spider-Man 2 swinging, but it's damn fucking awesome for a bunch of other reasons. So, but yes, Venom is definitely one of those reasons. So
yeah, Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man took me a bit to get into because I wasn't a big fan of the Ultimate comics at the time, and that the game looked so cartoony. So yeah, coming off the back of Spider-Man 2, that was so at the time realistic. But I played it and ended up loving it. So yeah, I can't like it was one of those things where I was happy to be wrong.
Yeah, no, I get you there. But I mean, shit.
For such a short list of topics, we definitely stretched it to about
We did.
over 2 hours. So.
TJ, just real quick, thoughts on Ghost Runner 2, and then I guess we'll get to outros, man.
I mean, it looks just as good as the first game. I mean, I have to finish the first game, honestly. And I was one of the people that was hyping up the game for, you know, our group. So they have a demo coming out for it. So if you played the original or if you didn't, you know, this is an opportunity where you get a, you know, chance to try the game out, see if you like it. I like, you know, what I've seen. I try not to pay attention to what they were talking about story-wise because obviously I didn't finish the first game. But yeah, it looks still, you know, just as good as the first game. So, you know, once I get through the first game, I'll get to this one. I don't know when that'll be, probably next year.
And has Foam Stars won you over? Because I still couldn't give a single fuck.
I mean, with it being an open beta, you know, we always try, you know, these open betas, and you know, like anytime there's some, you know, there's like a expo for demos or whatever on Steam, I try out a lot of games. So I'll try out Foam Stars. It'll be an excuse for me to turn this PS5 on and play something.
It reminded me of that racing game that came out like early PS5.
Racing?
Yeah, Destruction All-Star. It reminded me of Destruction All-Stars.
It did have like a
that's not a good
Destruction
thing.
All-Stars aesthetic, and yeah, that was definitely was not a good game.
Yeah, that's not a good thing that it reminds me of that. Will I try the beta? If someone can convince me to undust my PS5 and see if it still works, then maybe, but I don't know if I'm gonna try it. We'll see. It just depends on what I'm doing at the time. But guys, I don't want to keep everyone going for too much longer. I do appreciate everyone that pulled up. Obviously, I appreciate you, Leon. Even if you was at ends with the chat, but it was a good conversation overall.
I know I have a fringe opinion on Resident Evil 4. It's a-okay. I know this. So, you know, it's goddamn state of play for trying to dredge that game back up. I thought I'd put it behind me.
Damn. Yeah, it's like a open wound. You had the scab ripped off and now you're bleeding again. But yo, Leon, definitely let the people know what you got going on and where they can find you. I'll post your YouTube on. You know, in the chat. But Leon definitely has his personal opinions and you may not agree with them, but nonetheless, he's a good dude that will respect other people's opinions. So
Yeah, I enjoy good healthy debate. I think it's fun. I think that always having the same opinions and whatnot, it gets boring. I like bringing in all alternative points of view. But that being said, I'm almost always going to speak from a point of view I actually do agree with. So there's at least the authenticity you can vouch for. But yes, you can find me over at my channel, Words of Paradise. I cover nerdy news every day. Not always about video games. I do cover gaming topics, but I more cover nerdy news as a whole. Today did a video on the comic book resources calling for live action season 2 of Cowboy Bebop to come back, and frankly nobody wants that. Like I don't know why they would think that was a good idea, but here they are doing so. So yeah, no, just know that nobody wants Cowboy Bebop season 2. Nobody even wanted season 1. So if you like that and content like that talks about nerdy topics through a political lens, then yeah, you can check out my channel, Words of Paradise. I go live every Monday. I have the Countercast, of which Cast has been on multiple times. So yeah, you can check that out. And by all means, just thank you for having me on. I love coming on the show. Yeah. It's always a blast. And yeah, I'll see you again soon. I'll see you on Saturday, I assume.
Hell yeah, definitely. TJ, do you have anything you want to promote or anything you want to tell the chat?
Yeah, I'm still promoting Sea of Stars. It's a great game. If you have Game Pass, try it out. If you have PS Plus Essentials, try it out. Or if you want to support the development team, get it, pay for it full price. I think it was, what was it, 30? It was just 30. It was around a $30 range. So, I'm all for supporting indie, whether it's indie clothing, indie gaming, indie comics, all of that. So,
Hell yeah.
Sea of Stars is definitely one of my favorite games. It's definitely my game of the month. And, the month isn't over. So, Liza P is this week. We played the demo, didn't really care for that game too much. But, I heard they fixed things, so I'll probably get it on sale. But no, nothing else to promote. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat, and, sticking around. Wasn't much going on this week, but we made it work.
Hell yeah.
Sorry about that. StreamYard booted me. Sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, man, thank you so much, TJ, for coming through. Words of Paradise, appreciate you, bro. Guys, I dropped a video today. It was basically my last final thoughts on Starfield and just reassessing the landscape of content creators that are farming content for ridiculous reasons. And I just want you to know that out of the ones that are hating on Starfield, they were pretty inconsistent when it comes to Hogwarts Legacy and Baldur's Gate 3. I, however, have been consistent on all 3. So if you want to check that out, I'll definitely throw it in the chat below. If you do want to be a part of my Discord, consider becoming a channel member. A basic membership gets you instant access to the Discord. It's a part of the community tab thing on my channel if you do happen to become a member. Also, guys, I'm probably gonna stream on Kick either tomorrow
if you
or
subscribe
Saturday.
to her and jump in the Discord, that means it gives you license to tell me how wrong I am in the Discord. You can all bombard me with messages, be like, Leon, you fucking idiot about Resident Evil 4, and I'll take it all. Go for it. So pay Cassie to yell at me. It's a worthwhile endeavor.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, pay me to throw tomatoes at Leon in my Discord. So there we go. That's definitely a good sales pitch right there. And like I said, guys, I'll probably be live streaming on Kick either tomorrow or on Saturday. Definitely got to do some react requests. And there's definitely some videos I would certainly like to react to that I do have on the list. So that's going to be a fun time. And thank you so much, Fake Pear Bear, for the $10 super chat. Appreciate you, fam. Totally didn't have to. And here comes Oz at the very last second. Do you want to say something to the chat, Oz, before we end the stream? No, I guess not. Well, go fuck yourself too, Oz.
I'll say something.
Oh, no, here we go.
Crazy. The end.
White women are crazy. You fucking think? You think I don't shit on white women, for any fucking reason? Obviously, they're fucking batshit insane and deserve a lot of the bullshit that they get. So yeah, fuck that shit. But guys, thank you so much. Livewire, Alex vs. Evil, I'm Ambitious Swag Lord. Glinzer, thanks for pulling up, fam. He said, Hulk Ultimate Destruction needs a sequel. That would be interesting in modern day, I'm not gonna lie, or even a remake, or I guess reimagining, depending on what they want to do with it. Since we have to put out all the words, or remaster at this point. I think we'll take either as long as it is entertaining, and that's definitely a fun game. Also, shout out to Wrestling. Appreciate you pulling up. Lowest Expectations, Christian Freights. Appreciate you, fam. Fake Pear Bear, Sly Crow, Eastern Conference Gaming, Astro Cyborg. Man, I see a lot of the usual suspects, and you guys have honestly, you have my love. Take all the hearts. I appreciate y'all. Y'all really hold it down and make a motherfucker feel like, man, there's a reason why I'm doing this. So thank you so much for the usual suspects and new individuals alike. Renew, subscribe to the channel. Definitely a lot of interesting stuff going on here. Snafu, thank you for pulling up. Triple Z, thank you for pulling up. Jim Harrison, Spectre, appreciate all you guys. If I miss anyone, it's not at all intentional. And if you haven't, hit the like button on your way out. But yeah, guys, that's about it. And with all that being said, we are out. Peace.
Bye, whores. Bye.